Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I'm your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass, live in the car here with you on Grande's Graveyard. Welcome back to another edition of the show. And tonight is the night. It's the most fun you will ever have being scared. Yes, ladies and gents, we're doing it. It's a Creepshow Retrospective tonight here live on the Graveyard. So I'm super excited. It's crazy. I've been doing this show close to 3 years now, and I have discussed Creepshow 1, and actually I reviewed, I think, Creepshow 2 on the very first episode of Grande's Graveyard, but crazy enough, I never did a Creepshow like retrospective or anything like that. And, I was thinking show ideas, and I was like, I never did an episode on Creepshow, like just dedicated to it. I've done individual reviews of the original film actually more than once. And then the second film actually reviewed on the very first show. So I was like, wow, like I've done this. So I don't know. I figured it would be fun to sort of just kind of go through all these movies. Of course, we've got the original movie right here. Yes, I still have the Bare Bones Blu-ray. I know I'm a horrible fan. But if you think I'm a horrible fan for that, I've still got the Anchor Bay DVD of Creepshow Part 2, which I love this movie too. I'm excited to get into both of the feature-length films. Of course, we are going to talk about Part 3. I don't own Part 3. I will never own Part 3. I hate Part 3. That is going to be rant central, ladies and gents. So, hold on to your butts with that. And also, we'll be getting into the Creepshow television series. I have seasons 1 and 2 here, little slip covers, which I surprisingly really, really liked this show. Couldn't believe it. I remember working at Comic-Con, and they did like a special sneak peek for season 1, and I snuck into the screening. I was not supposed to be in there. I was selling comics, and I was like, you say Creepshow, my dumbass going to be there. So I snuck into the screening and seeing it, and I was like, wow, this is actually very surprising. It didn't have the most money behind it, but at the same time, it was very fresh, and I was very excited with it. And also, I thought the second season maybe a slight step down, but I enjoyed the second season. I'm not going to review every single segment, every single episode. I'm just going to give you some of my favorites with the show. With the movies, we're going to review all the segments, all the good, the bad, and the goddamn ugly, which is Creepshow 3. So, I mean, we're going to get there, I promise. We've got a ton of people in the chat, so let me scroll up here. What's good, Grande? Miss C. Miss C's in the house. Miss C, what's going on? Hope all's well with you tonight. The Stolas Trenchcoat's in the house. Good brother. What's up with you, man? Hope all is well. Hi, I'm here to talk about Creepshow turning 40 this year. Bro, that's right. The 40th anniversary of Creepshow in November, I believe. And that was another reason, I looked at the movies turning 40 years old this year, and I was like, wow, yeah, Creepshow 40th anniversary. I've just got to do it. It was one of those things I had held it off for a long time and decided to pull the trigger tonight. The original is like a pre-Tales from the Crypt. You have a corpse-like host, and the characters just getting their just desserts, which is actually funny. That's what the documentary is called, Just Desserts, the making of Creepshow. And Slasher Fred is in the house. Slasher Fred, welcome to my graveyard, my friend. Dr. Howdy, dude, good brother Will's in the house. Anchor Bay is tier 1 shit, bro. I know, man. I wanted that Arrow Blu-ray of Creepshow too, but I'm repping the old school right here, man. I don't know why, but I don't know. Like, I still have The Hills Have Eyes, Anchor Bay. I have The Day of the Dead, Anchor Bay. That was the shit back in the day, man. I absolutely loved Anchor Bay. That was like before all these, and now there's 100 companies, Vinegar Syndrome, Severin, and Scream Factory, and Arrow, and they're all great. I mean, they're all great in their own way. But Anchor Bay was the one that really fucking started it all. Like, that was the one that I remember they were releasing stuff that was super rare, and I was just super excited about it. And it's hard. It's like some of them have a sentimental value. Like, I can't get rid of some of my Anchor Bay shit. No matter what edition, what 4K they come out with, they want me to double dip. Sometimes, man, I don't know. The sentimental value is there with Anchor Bay and me. So, but welcome, Will. Welcome to the graveyard, man. Trenchy saying hi to people. Mateo, ciao grande, Mateo. What's up, good brother? Hope all is well with you tonight, man. He's saying hi to everybody in the chat. Creepshow 3 could kiss my ass in hell. Bro, me too. Let me join you. You can kiss my ass too. I still have all. Wow, really? You have all your Anchor Bay stuff. Wow. See, I honestly, some of it I sold, but there's some of them that I can't. Like, I can't sell the Day of the Dead one. That was like, I remember when that special edition came out, and like the little flap where you could peel off Bub's face, and I'm just a huge fan. I like Anchor Bay, dude. Yeah, no, Anchor Bay was the best back in the day. It's like I said, it has that sentimental value. Like I know everybody always mentions that Sleepaway Camp box set that they did, the Red Cross, and then Best Buy had to annex the Red Cross because like it was offensive to people and shit. I don't know, like that was a whole thing back in the day. That was like the first horror DVD company that just got me going, and sort of made me the fan that I am now, and watched all these old school movies. Because of that. And that's why I love Anchor Bay. Dude, I love that. Dude, same, man. It's like, I don't know what it is. Like, I can't, like, I know they have a couple different special edition Blu-rays, but it's like, no, like, I'm not, that DVD is the fucking best, man. I don't care what anybody says. Billy's dad is a douchebag. You talk about Tom Atkins? Holy shit. All right. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to review all 3 feature films, and we're also going to get into the television show. I'm very much dreading Creepshow 3. I already see in the chat here, Creepshow 3 is a racist remote segment in the hot tub. Yeah, that's the one. And the guy that's trying to fuck the radio, which I can't believe. Sleepaway Camp is like Carrie meets Friday the 13th. Huh. I never thought of that. How so, Clasher Fred? Do expand on that. Before you start with Creepshow Grande, are you going to watch the new Argento? Absolutely, I'm going to watch the new Argento. I don't have high hopes, especially after hearing the reviews and after his last film, Dracula 3D, 10 years ago, which was fucking unbelievably bad. But because of Suspiria, because of Tenebrae, because of Phenomena, because of Deep Red, because of The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, because of Four Flies on Grey Velvet, because of, Inferno, Cat o' Nine Tails, Opera, Trauma, The Stenhall Syndrome, Mother of Tears. How many great fucking Argento movies have there been? I can't just turn my back on the guy now that he's done something new. Do I expect much? No, but, it's just, there's no way I'm not going to go out and support him because that guy gave so many hours and movies of great horror entertainment that I've gotten to enjoy in my lifetime, and countless others have enjoyed. So I don't know. My loyalty goes out to Argento. It's funny. I don't know if you've heard the song, Mateo. There's actually a song that I was going to mention tonight because we're talking Creepshow, George Romero. There's a song called George Romero by a band called The Sprites. And it is great. It's a great little song. And, the main chorus is, I learned everything from George Romero, Dario Argento, maybe Tom Savini. I mean, it has all of the like horror masters names in the song. It's fantastic. It's really, really good stuff. But yeah, no, Argento, man, no matter what, I will always be watching some Argento. I think I saw Creepshow. If it's the one story about the guy who had the roaches in his apartment. Yep, they're creeping up on you. Love that one. Carrie with a Dong, which I'm fully about. Oh, are you really? You want to see the Sissy Spacek crack there? I don't know, brother. Still got Creepshow 1 and 2 on DVD. Very cool. Wow, the comments are fast and furious here. I went to San Diego Comic-Con 2001, 04. Oh, cool. That's okay. Very cool. Aiden Babber's in the Easy. Hello. I'm definitely watching the new Argento film. Exactly. Yeah. Savini's muscle will always make me hard. Well, this is a Savini joint times 10, man. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. But Creepshow, George Romero, Stephen King, the two masters of the macabre coming together in their primes. And this movie, to me, it's almost the backstory as to how it came to be is the coolest thing in the world. Of course, you pretty much have to take the time machine back to the year 1977, where George Romero was filming Dawn of the Dead. And, he was planning to release it worldwide, theatrically, a big opening, because it was the sequel to Night of the Living Dead that he had held off for almost 10 years to wanting to do. Initially, they were all for it. Yeah, we're going to release it worldwide, until he submitted to the MPAA. Yes, the dreaded MPAA. And George Romero wanted the film to be, fast, loud, and out of control, just like any zombie film should be, right? With as much gore and violence and chaos and craziness as there can be. Only problem is the studio said, we're going to release this with an X. We're not going to give this a widescreen release. We're not going to give this, the wide release that you want. And Romero was like, geez, what do I do? Do I fold here? Do I put my tail between my legs? What do I do? And he actually asked producer Richard P. Rubenstein, he said, what do we do? And Richard said, hey, I tell you what, why don't we do one screening in New York City, X-rated. We'll take out a 1-inch ad in the New York Times, and we'll see how we do. And if they come like gangbusters, maybe we'll see if we can find a different distributor that's going to release the film X-rated worldwide as it should be seen. And luckily they did that, and people did come in droves to see Dawn of the Dead. They were hanging from the rafters, and George Romero at that show met Salah M. Hassanin, who went up to Romero and said, listen, I love this film. This was a great movie, and I'm a producer, and I'd like to offer you a 3-picture deal. And Romero was just, wow, I'm blessed. Like, this is absolutely amazing. And he said, I want you to do a 3-picture deal with me. You can do 2 of your own, 2 that whatever you want to do, I'll produce it. I'll put the money behind it. He said, but the third one, I want it to be Day of the Dead. I want it to be the sequel to Dawn of the Dead. That's the deal. You get your 2 pictures. I want that one. And Romero said, okay. So Romero first made a passion project, which was Night Riders from 1981. Stars Ed Harris. It's a fantastic film. Tom Savini plays the heel in it. It's about these people that like joust. It's a long film, like 2.5-hour film. But Ken Foree shows up in there. Patricia Tallman shows up in there. Scott Reiniger. And Romero didn't know what to do after that because that was his personal passion project. In steps a little horror writer by the name of Stephen King. Stephen King was the biggest up-and-comer in the horror creativity world in the novels and the movies at the time. I mean, Carrie hit it big. The Shining hit it big. And they were at first discussing possibly doing Salem's Lot. At times, they were maybe discussing of doing The Stand. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what they wanted to adapt for Romero's second picture of the 3-picture deal. And King said to Romero, why do we have to do something I wrote in a novel? Like, why do we have to take something that I've already written? Like, what if we put our heads together and see what we can create? And Romero was like, well, sure, I'd love to create. I love creating things. I mean, I created Martin. I created the modern zombie, as we all know and love. What do you want to create? And Stephen King said, you know what? Look at what we grew up on. We grew up on EC Comics of the 1950s and the vaults of horror. And all these old school things that these 2 guys grew up loving and adoring and being fans of. He said, why don't we make a movie like that? A modern day EC comic, and the film itself will be like a comic book. And you can literally have the kid going through story. And you can edit it going panel through panel and use all these sorts of vibrant colors. And this gave Romero just the unbelievable amount of a creative palette when it came to being a filmmaker. And sure enough, Stephen King took stories that were either the beginnings of busted novels or short stories that he hadn't finished and came up with 5 jolting tales of horror, which is Creepshow. And I always just thought, like, what an amazing story behind this thing. Like, that's incredible. 2 guys in their prime that loved it. Stephen King, I don't think it get much better than him. I mean, some will say Clive Barker, but Stephen King, I don't think there's anybody more famous when it comes to horror writers, horror novelists. George Romero, coming off of my favorite film ever made, Dawn of the Dead. For those 2 to come together and to put their brains together and to give us this movie that they give you, it's just absolutely amazing. It's astounding when you think about it. And Creepshow is a movie to me that delivers on every single front. And I'm super excited to get into all the segments with you guys. But I figured that backstory was very much worth it. We have a lot of comments, though. Holy moly. I'm trying to get, I think we were, again, if I missed it, I'm sorry, but you can re-comment if you'd like. Man, I would give anything. My father, not a horror fan, but he actually saw Dawn of the Dead in the theater, and he told me he ran out. After they blow off the guy's head right at the beginning when Wooly goes ape shit, my dad ran out of the theater and waited in the lobby. Like, that's how bad it was. I think the aunt had to drive him home. My dad's not a horror guy, but part of me likes to think like maybe I was a tear in his eye or something when he watched it, and I'm like, that's my favorite fucking movie ever. Creepshow 1, very good movie, better than Twilight Zone movie for sure. Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, you're not wrong on that. With the casualties, that was a travesty, but I think it's much better than the Twilight Zone movie. Tales from the Dark Side is underrated. Well, that was the series that spawned because of this. That was sort of the Creepshow series of the 1980s. Because Romero was, of course, the producer. Richard P. Rubenstein still involved. Romero even wrote a couple of those. So that's like the Creepshow series of the 1980s, even though it was called Tales from the Dark Side. Romero 3 pictures were phenomenal. All 3 movies are great. Day of the Dead, Creepshow, Night Riders. All 3 of those movies are fucking bangers. Tales from the Dark Side, the movie is a real Creepshow 3. Absolutely. Romero has even said that. We are going to talk about that tonight, though, just for time's sake, because I have so much we got to get to. But I do like Tales from the Dark Side of the movie. Knight Riders all the way, baby. Dude, I love Knight Riders. Ed Harris does a great job. Martin was Romero's favorite film he made, and Knight Riders was a close second. Yes, Knight Riders, he said this in interviews, was his personal favorite. Like, I'm sorry, not his personal favorite, his personal, like his most personal, like the film that he wanted to make that was most near and dear to his heart, that meant the most to him. And I could see why. I mean, it's a very good film. The same year the original Creepshow came out, Leslie Nielsen appeared in a short-lived series called Police Squad. That was a spoof of police dramas, which later became Naked Gun Trilogy. Wow, isn't that crazy? He plays a tremendous heel in this. The Crate is an fantastic story, number one. Okay. Okay. And if you guys want to say your favorites, you go ahead, but I'm going to go through every one of them. So we will get there. I promise. I have a feeling Romero borrowed the gel lighting from his pal Argento. Absolutely. That is totally where he was getting some of the style inspiration for this movie. And I'm happy that he did. Stephen King's son plays the young boy at the beginning and the end. Yes, that's Joe Hill. Creepshow, Day of the Dead, Martin, Dawn of the Dead, and Bruiser are my top 5 Romero films. Dude, Romero's the best. I got to see more Romero films. I've seen some of the bigger ones, but haven't seen some of the lesser ones like Martin and Knight Riders. Dude, see Martin. Martin is, like, for any horror fan, you should see Martin. I believe it's free on YouTube, so you can watch it on. I have like a shitty like VHS DVD copy of it. It's really shitty. It's like a ripped straight from the VHS. It looks like shit, but I love that movie. And apparently the 4K is coming, so my fingers are crossed. But let's get into Creepshow. Let's get into the segments here, if you will. First up, Happy Father's Day. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I want my cake, Bedelia. I fucking love Father's Day. I will say, though, of these 5 of the stories, it's probably the weakest, but I do think there's a good reason it's the starter. And first and foremost, it's probably the one with the most style in it. Basically, Father's Day tells the story of this woman, Bedelia, and her evil father who had her lover killed overseas. She had him gunned down, killed. And basically she kills him with an ashtray, and then every Father's Day she comes to his grave and puts some flowers in there. And then, of course, eventually old father comes out of the grave, played by John Amplas, who is Martin, funny enough, and he wants his damn cake. And he basically starts cleaning house. He kills her. He kills anybody who gets in the way of his cake. And I think Father's Day stylistically is probably the most interesting of the bunch, because the blue lighting and the uses of red and purple and magenta and all these colors just vibrating off the screen. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful to look at aesthetically. You have Ed Harris dancing like a goofball. Don't let go. Fun, just very fun. To me, a perfect table setter for the film that you get moving forward. I think it's the perfect opening segment. I don't think it's the best. I actually, of this particular movie, I do think it's the weakest. But that's not to say it's not damn good, because I do think it's damn good. You have a tremendous scene where Ed Harris, he leaves the house looking for Bedelia, and just the way Argento. Well, it feels like Argento, right? Because the blue lighting and the atmosphere, the way Romero creates tension and makes that scene scary as Ed Harris sort of wanders out and falls into the grave. Very, very eerie stuff, man. Very good, in my opinion. Very well shot. And, you know, the whole ending where he has her head on the fucking dish and I got my cake. And they do these really fun, like, colors behind the actors. They scream and they do this sort of like red vortex behind the guy and the woman as they're screaming in horror, almost like a comic book. I think that's just brilliant. And you know, the way all this is edited together, I think also is tremendous. And people don't give Romero that much credit when it comes to editing. But I think it might have been his strongest suit as a filmmaker. Because the guy could write, the guy could direct, but man, he was such a damn underrated editor. If you look at the films he edited, I think they are his best works. Like, they're just spotless. And he only edits one film here, but I'm assuming he was heavily involved in how the other editors, Pasquale Bubla was one of them, of course, of the famed Bubba brothers. He edited one of them, and Romero edits, Something to Tide You Over. But I think this is the perfect, like, table setter segment is Father's Day. It's a lot of fun. You got Ed Harris doing some wacky dances. You've got the style. You've got the comic book transitions and editing. to me, it's a perfect, like, all right, I'm into the comic book now. And to me, it's like the perfect way to start this film for me. It's tremendous way to kick off a movie that only to me gets better from there. But let me get back to the comments here. I'm sorry, ladies and gents. There's a ton of these. So again, if I miss any, I'm sorry. The zombie in Father's Day got his cake. Damn right he did, man. Dude, yeah, don't let go. It's so 80s, and the way they're dancing, like Ed Harris is doing this, man. Like, I don't know what it is about it. Fucking cracks me up. Yeah, no, Ed Harris in this is a lot of fun. Father's Day is my favorite. First appearance of the ashtray. And the ashtray, and good brother Tom, welcome to the graveyard. The ashtray shows up in every single segment. Romero hides it in every single segment. And they did it cool enough, which I thought was cool. If you watch closely the first season of the show, you can see that ashtray in a couple episodes. Not all of them, but a couple of them. Very cool to me that they even remembered to do that. The reason when we get into this, I could see that they cared. Whether you think this is terrible, good, bad, ugly, they cared, unlike Creepshow 3. That's, to me, the biggest positive of this is there is a little bit of heart here, whether you like it or dislike it. I think heart goes a long way, at least for me. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but heart goes a long way for me. Father's Day is fun and arguably the darkest of all the stories because the villain wins. Yes, absolutely. He gets his damn cake, by God. One of Ed Harris's first films. Yes, Night Riders was his first movie, and his first leading role, I think. And he actually came back and did the documentary for Creepshow. He talked about it. I mean, what is he in this movie for? Maybe 10 minutes, and he gets crushed with he came back and talked about it. That's how much he respected George Romero and how much he was grateful for him for helping his career. The lonesome death of Jordy Vero is my favorite. It might be my favorite too. We're going to get into that right now. Wow. I'm sorry. I'm trying to go through these as quick as I can. Weakest segment is Father's Day, but even the week. Exactly. Like, even though it's my least favorite, it's my least favorite among movie, like segments that I all love. So, it sort of cancels out. Vivica Linfors as Bedelia. She was creepy in Exorcist 3. Yeah, no, totally, man. I love Exorcist 3. Same year the original came out, Ted Danson appeared in his known role, a former sports player running the bar on TV series Cheers. And unlike Mr. Harris, I don't think I've ever heard Ted Danson talk about this movie. And I gotta say, I think this is Ted Danson's best fucking performance. The intensity, we'll get there, but man, I love Ted Danson in this. My favorite segment is a tie between the crate and the one with Leslie Nielsen going off. Yeah, no, I love that segment too. Also, the score. Dude, how could I not mention the score? John Harrison steps in and does the score, and he hit it out of the park. Of course, John Harrison, longtime Romero collaborator. He's, of course, people remember him as the screwdriver zombie in Dawn of the Dead. He also does the score for Day of the Dead, which is, I always love the score for Day of the Dead, like right in the beginning. Hello! Boop, 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 boop. I love the score of Day of the Dead, but this score, tremendous, as we see the kid in the beginning see the creep in the window, and we turn from live action to animation, and that creepy piano score. Dun, 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 dun. Fantastic. To me, one of the all-time great horror movie scores. And a score so good. In fact, George Romero, he won the Mastermind Lifetime Achievement Award in horror a few years back. Tarantino actually gave out the award. You can watch it on YouTube. It's somewhere on YouTube. Tarantino awarded him the award, and Romero came out. They played the Creepshow theme. First thing he said, he didn't say thank you, didn't say anything. He put John Harrison over. He said, that score right there, he said, that's John Harrison's score, and he did a great job. That's why I love George Romero. Even in his time of winning an award, the first guy he put over was John Harrison. A real one, for sure. 11 watching, 7 likes. Something is wrong here. Smash it because John Steele said so. Yeah, brother. John Steele's in the fucking house, motherfuckers. Hell yeah. John Steele, thank you, man. I appreciate that. TV series is fucking awesome. I sort of agree, man. I'm astonished that I like it as much as I do. Don't forget. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Hello, Trench Friendship. Day of the Dead is another wonderful score. Totally. First season of Tales from the Crypt is like Creepshow. You have 6 stories of terror, dude. And Tales from the Crypt is tremendous. Necro the rapper did a side project called Circle of Tyrants, and they sample Creepshow song Dude, really? Dude, if you don't mind, send me if you have like a video of that or anything on Spotify, like send me that. I would like to listen to that. Jordy Vero should have called. Yeah, no, we're gonna get to Jordy Vero right now. So Father's Day, my least favorite of the bunch of this movie particular, but still a damn good table setter. Arguably my favorite comes next though. The Lonesome Death of Jordy Vero. Yes, and of course, there's nobody else on planet Earth, not Marlon Brando, not if Leonardo DiCaprio was even alive, not Leonardo DiCaprio. Stephen fucking King had to play this part. The Lonesome Death of Jordy Vero. Meteor shit. Holy oh Jesus. Jordy Vero is one of my favorite characters in the history of cinema. I mean, it just the Jordy Vero, you lunkhead. Of course, The Lonesome Death of Jordy Vero tells the story of Jordy Vero, Stephen King, playing this kind of, guy that lives in the middle of nowhere. He's walking home one night, and all of a sudden he sees a big meteor crash to the earth. And holy oh Jesus, he runs over to it. He touches it with his fingers, and he's starting to think, oh man, I'm going to become a millionaire. I'm going to become rich because of this. He throws some water on it, breaks the damn thing. Then his imagination, oh no, I've cost myself all this money. Jordy Vero, you lunkhead. All of a sudden, what he touched starts to sort of spread on his hands, and outside it's spreading. And inadvertently, Jordy Vero starts the spreading of this crazy, like, weed virus, if you will. And he is infected. He is fucking patient number one because he is in trouble from this. But what makes this one great is a lot of different things. Number one, it's Stephen King's performance. He's so fucking goofy. It's so cheesy and over the top that you can't help but smile. He's sitting there watching WWF, popping a couple of beers and vodkas, and he's growing all this shit on him. And he's trying to ignore it. He's like, oh boy, and don't it itch? At one point, he's like, I'm just going to wash it off. He gets in the bathtub, and that, of course, you put water on plants, the plants are going to grow, right? So once he gets out of the tub, it's worse. He talks to his dead father in the fucking mirror, and Dad, but you're dead. And if you ever notice, the dad in the mirror is the same guy playing the doctor. So they only use those two actors for this segment. Of course, a classic Romero trope. Take everything you can, make it feel as grand as possible, with doing as little as you fucking can. That's George Romero at his best. He could make a lot out of nothing. And that's a prime example why I love his films. And this is no, exception to that. And all of his movies had that homemade feel, that Pittsburgh feel, whether it be Martin or Dawn of the Dead, The Crazies, all of them had that Pennsylvania homemade feel to them. And Creepshow is right then and there. I mean, this was primarily shot in Pennsylvania, some exterior shots in New Jersey. But nevertheless, I mean, it still feels like that. I love that he uses two different characters, but the same actor, just for the sake of saving a penny. But it works, and you'd never know. At least, I don't know. I never noticed until I looked it up. This segment, though, to me is a lot of fun, and Jordy Vero pretty much as a lonesome death, and please just this once, blows his head off with the shotgun, and we see that this is going to become global. It's going to be, spread into Castle Rock. Rain, rain, rain is in the forecast, ladies and gentlemen. This idiot, this harmless idiot, not only cost himself his life, but countless other people are probably going to die because of meteor shit. I don't know why. I always found this segment charming. I think without Stephen King, I don't think it ever would have worked. I really don't. I think it's funny to know that the guy that wrote the fucking film is the lead of that segment, playing it as goofy and making as much fun at himself. It makes you laugh along with it as opposed to laughing at it. That's just apparently my opinion, how I always looked at it. But I think it's a tremendous segment. Arguably my favorite of the film. It's this or the next one for me. Let's see. I'm trying to get back. Oh no, John Steele saying it's freezing. That's not good. Is it bad, guys? Let me know if it is. Because I could try to always reset my router. I didn't notice anything. Just smash the like button along with my schlong. Thanks. This segment is hilarious and tragic. It is a little bit tragic because he didn't do anything wrong. He's just an idiot. But he caused the death of all these fucking people, which I was just like, geez, like, oh my gosh. TV show is pretty good. Not all the eps hit. Exactly. It's overall, it's good. Like there's a couple where I'm like, Jesus, this sucks. but for every bad one like that, there's like 3 good ones. So I could take that. Love, yeah, no, he's just chugging the vodka, watching WWE, he's watching like Bob Backlund, funny shit. Sorry, Grande. For me, this is the weakest segment. Okay, King, Goat Rider, but as an actor, Steven, you stink. Well, I can't argue with that. But I can't lie to you, I have fun with this segment. Meteor shit, hell yeah. Jordy shoot himself just like Bud Dwyer did. Oh, okay. That circle, okay. It's a fun, also track. Exactly. To me, it's the best of both. Lonesome Dead lives up to the most fun. Exactly. To me, it's like it lives up to the tagline. This is a fun story of all of them, you know. But I can see somebody saying this the word. See, that's the fun with anthology. You know, that's why I love it. I don't know. It's fine on my end. Freezes here and there, nothing bad. Okay, as long as it's nothing bad, because my Wi-Fi, it picks and chooses. I promise you, I was supposed to do this a couple weeks ago, but Saturday morning, I'm getting a new router. So hopefully this doesn't happen anymore. This will be the last show on this router. I assure you of that. E.G. Marshall, who appeared in the original, was the host of a radio series called CBS Radio Mystery Theater, which was back in the day before TV. They used to do radio dramas. That's awesome. He also shows up in this, of course, as Mr. Pratt. And, of course, movies like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He's one of the grandfathers in it. I love E.G. Marshall. He's also in the Grither episode of Tales from the Dark Side, which I love. Loads of Death of Jordy Vero, though, one of my favorites. Arguably my favorite. I love it. I think it's just fun. It has a fun tongue-in-cheek atmosphere to it. Next, though, Something to Tide You Over. Oh, yes, ladies and gents. And this one, it's either this one or Jordy Vero for the first film for me. It's one of these two. It's hard to decide. But I love these two. Of course, Something to Tide You Over tells the story of Leslie Nielsen and Ted Danson. Of course, Leslie Nielsen, he's married to Galen Ross's character. And, you know, she's sort of having an affair on him with Mr. Danson. And Leslie shows up and he says, listen, you better listen to me. You better do what I say or otherwise she's going to die. And they drive out to the beach. And they also do, of course, Romero does the panel. Meanwhile, you know, along the beach. And I love how the creativity of all this, it's just brilliant. And then, like I said, the use of color. Like Jordy Vero, the main color is green. And then Father's Day, it's like these blues and purples and reds. And then in this one, you know, you get some more blues and maybe like a chlorine type-ish color, like greenish blue, aqua, if you will. Really cool. He basically convinces Ted Danson. He's like, I'm going to bury you from the neck down on this beach. And we're going to go from there. And he's like, okay. And he brings out the longest fucking extension cord you'd ever imagine, puts it in front of him. And it's Galen Ross. And she's in the same predicament. And the tide is coming in and she has to keep holding her breath to try to survive. It's tremendously done. What a genius, evil plan for this guy. And he's saying, you know, you might have a chance to survive. You've got to, you know, hold your breath in and then release before the next wave comes in. I mean, Leslie Nielsen does a tremendous job being the heel here. And Ted Danson does a great job too and selling with his eyes and the intensity. As Leslie Nielsen's pouring himself a fucking drink and he's watching it on the TV, laughing like fuck. I love Ted Danson's performance here as he turns to the monitor and he goes, you know what, Richard, I'm going to get you, you son of a bitch. I'm going to get you. And just the intensity in his eyes as the wave hits him. And he realizes, he's like, oh my God. He's like, I'm going to fucking die. And it's heavy, man. It's a scary, like, you're like, man, I feel bad for Ted Danson, man. Like, I know he was fucking around, but nobody fucking deserves to go this way. But again, Mr. Leslie Nielsen, he gets his at the end. This is the old revenge tale. He thinks he's getting the utmost revenge. Joke's on him. Galen Ross and Ted Danson come back from the dead as these underwater-like zombies. They look almost more like Fulci zombies to me than the Romero ones. Of course, they have that blue skin, but they reminded me more of like something Fulci would do. As they sort of taunt him and stuff, and he's shooting them and nothing's happening. And there's a great jump scare as Leslie Nielsen, he locks the door and he's shaking and he takes a step back, he turns and they're right there. And even he's like, oh, and he screams. And they do the blues and the greens and, you know, we hope you can hold your breath for a long time. Fantastically done. Really good stuff. The acting all around, tremendous. It's cool to see Galen Ross in there. Of course, she didn't do too many movies that people would know of. Of course, Dawn of the Dead. She denounced Madman for the longest time. Apparently now she doesn't. Alexis Dubin herself. And that's really the three movies that anyone's going to know her from. And this is a bit role. I mean, she's barely in this. But it was cool to see her. And I think this is a great trend of revenge. And I think Creepshow as a whole, all of these, they like to do revenge stories. I mean, whether it be Old Chief Woodenhead in this, whether it be the Hitchhiker in this, the Hitchhiker getting his revenge, whether it be probably my favorite episode of the Creepshow series, the Halloween centered one with the kids coming back from the grave and killing those that burn them alive. Revenge is a very big factor in Creepshow. Father's Day, you could even look at it like he just wanted his cake. He wanted his revenge for being killed by his bitchy, niece. Or his bitchy daughter, if you will. Interesting, the themes of revenge, but I think no other segment, I don't think any other segment does revenge quite as good as Something to Tide You Over. In my opinion, arguably the best Creepshow segment of the entire bunch to me. It's tremendous. Absolutely love it. I think we were here. The road shit to this day makes me feel skeevy. If you grew up with them, you'd know. Yeah, no, and what's crazy, John, and I guess we can explain that when I get, we'll explain that when I get there. I don't want to get it, but that's the last story here. Love Leslie Nielsen. I can hold my breath for a long time. Dude, and the way he delivers it, I can hold my breath for a long time as the waves come in and he gives that look like, all right, I'm fucked actually. I always thought that was funny. How 1982 is the apartment. How 1982 is the apartment. Oh, you're talking about it in Something to Tide You Over. Okay, yeah, no, it is, man. You got a fishbowl in the middle of the room. It looks like it's in a factory or something. You've got oh man, it's so 1982. It's it's bad. Dude, exactly. I love the segment 10. Great. Leslie, just choose scenery. Exactly, man. Yeah, no, I think they are tremendous. That probably the best acting in this movie is in this segment. I am the Grither. I am the Grither. Fucking one of my favorite, one of the best Tales from the Dark Side episodes. Yeah, no, the rich guy is a piece of shit. He got what he deserved. Adrian Barbeau, who played the bullying wife, was once married to John Carpenter, and she appeared in a few movies. Exactly, yes. I always remember in The Fog as Stevie Wayne. This is Stevie Wayne here. I loved how she delivered those lines. She was great. She was also in some Craven films. She was really big. It's crazy. She worked with Carpenter, Craven, Romero. She worked with a lot of the big filmmakers at that time. Which is interesting. But Adrian Barbeau is awesome. Shitty way to go. R.I.P. Leslie Nielsen. He was a funny guy. Totally agree with that, man. Apparently, John Carpenter told his wife Adrian to do this film. Dude. Yeah, and I don't know if the people notice, but the next story is the crate. I guess this is a perfect transition into the crate. If you look at the crate, on top of it, you see the name Julia Carpenter, which I don't know if that's a nod maybe to John Carpenter. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not positive. I don't know. I've never read that anywhere. I noticed it, though, when I was doing show prep. I was like, Carpenter. Interesting. And I know they were buddies. So I don't know. Maybe he just took the last name. I don't know where Julia would come in. I don't know. It's maybe Adrian Carpenter would have made sense, but I don't know. I don't. Maybe that's just me. That's something weird that I noticed. But I saw Carpenter's name on the crate. So I think that's pretty funny. Carpenter's name is on the crate. Holy shit. Conspiracy theories. People look at it. Rebel, look into it. But I don't know. That's just my thing. The crate. Now, the crate is the longest segment of this film easily. It is definitely the one that you can feel its length a little bit. The other ones, to me, they fly by. The crate is definitely the longest. I don't know. I always assumed it was around 40 minutes. I'm probably wrong, though. It's probably 30 plus, probably 33, 35, somewhere in that ballpark. But to me, the crate is a damn good segment. Of course, this janitor, he's flipping a coin to see which floor he's going to do first. And it rolls under the crate, and he finds it. He calls up Fritz Weaver, who, of course, I always remember from The Twilight Zone. I love Fritz Weaver. He's just a tremendous actor. They open this crate, and there's Fluffy is inside. Of course, Tom Savini's great creation, Fluffy, and it is hungry. Fluffy is hungry after all these years. The box has the 1800s on it. It's eating everybody. It eats the janitor. It eats this young up-and-coming preppy guy. It's fantastic. And this one, the main color is red. They love to use red in this. As the janitor's being eaten, the vibrant red lights used. It's something right out of Suspiria. It's, again, using, the friends and the things that he had learned from other filmmakers and applying them here with the style. Brilliant. It would be so standard if it was just done without that lighting. Adding that red lighting, just takes it to a whole different level to me. And I love the crate. Of course, the other half of the story, though, is Hal Holbrook dealing with Adrian Barbeau being a fucking bitch. You call me Billy. And she's really, I remember watching this years ago with my grandmother. She loved the film. She said, she was like, Adrian Barbeau was so good in that, I actually was annoyed at her. Like, she was like, I actually like couldn't wait for her to get fucking eaten. And I was like, yeah, no, I mean that she did her job. That's the thing. But she was like, no, she did too well. Like, she never understood, like heat, like getting heat. But, if she's actually getting you angry, she did something right. That's just my thing. I know maybe the wrong type of heat for some people, but to me, she's just annoying. And Hal Holbrook has these fantasies of killing her. Hell of a shot. He shoots her in the head, Dawn of the Dead style. He dreams of strangling her. All of these things that I think are just tremendous. I really do. I really like all these like daydream fantasies he has. And in a way, the crate comes along at a time for Hal Holbrook that he can get away with murdering his wife without having the blood necessarily on his hands. Instead, it's going to be on Fluffy's. And I always thought that was kind of the funny thing about this segment. It's almost like it counteracts with each other. And, in order to get rid of his wife, he's going to do this horrible thing. And like, I just thought that was just so morbid, but really, really well done here. And Hal Holbrook is a good performance as, the husband that's just sick of it. He's had it up to here. He's fucking done. I like Hal Holbrook a lot in it. I think he's really good. Of course, you have the scene where he's eater, he's wake up. And she's just like goes on this rant. She's like, when's the last time you were a man in our bed, Henry? When's the last time you got it up? You're not good at making money, not good at doing this, that. And she just cuts this mean, like, you fucking bitch. And all of a sudden, Fluffy pops out. Gets that bit. And just the ultimate, like, yes, like, fuck this bitch. Like, yes. Like, granted, I wish her death was more gory. You don't see a lot of it. It is off screen. But you get the idea, man, and it's very well done, in my humble opinion. I really like the crate. In my opinion, it's just a little too long. I trim like 5 minutes, and it's perfect. But it is the long segment of the film, so I don't know. I can forgive it for that. I love the crate. Another really great one. Let's go back to the comments here. I think we were here. I think the crate still kicks ass today. 100% agree. All right, for me, the crate is the best segment. I love it. The less is more. You don't see the monster. I love it. Okay, very cool. See, I think you see enough of Fluffy. I love Fluffy, man. The crate is my second favorite. Okay, watch out for Fluffy. Hell yeah. Leslie Nielsen was once a very serious actor. Exactly, and this movie shows that. I wish he had done some more serious stuff as well. I Met Her Nice Lady. Adrian Barbeau, yeah, no, I've heard nothing but good about her. His wife sucks. Yeah, Hal Holbrook is dude, he is, man. I really like Hal Holbrook, especially in this. Love the crate, a very fun segment. Fluffy looks great. It is awesome. Bobby is such a fun Billy. Yeah, Billy is a fun, awful bitch. Love the chemistry between the two guys that find the crate. Great kills all the way. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Dude, see, not a lot of people know about that movie, Rituals, which is, I think, it might have even been the same year as Creepshow. I don't know if nobody wants to double check me on that. I believe Rituals was in 1982 as well. A very underrated film. I believe somebody just gave it a Blu-ray. That's a damn good movie. Cool pick, man. That not a lot of people know about Rituals. The crate showed up in season 5 of The Walking Dead. Did it really? Wow. Yo, I actually would just like I want to see that now. That's interesting. Walking Dead I gave up after like season 2, so I don't know, but I would like to see the clip because I love the crate. Of course, the last story, They're Creeping Up on You, starring Mr. E.G. Marshall as this awful, germaphobe who has all this money, and he's awful, he's mean, he's firing people, he's a racial he's a piece of shit all the way around. And he has a little bit of a cockroach problem. And I think the beauty of this segment is the fact that they used real cockroaches. If this was done today, you and I and everybody else know that this would have been CGI, and they would have CGI bugs, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I understand why. It's not easy probably to film with all these cockroaches, but that's why I love George Romero. He knew he had to get real cockroaches. It's 1982, pal. There's no CGI. We've got to get real ones. So they sent for them, I believe from, I don't know if it was Thailand or I forget what what country, what city he ordered like 500,000 of them, and they came in barrels, all of these cockroaches, and they had to keep them in their own trailer. Yes, you think you're a movie star? No, you're not a movie star until you're a cockroach getting your own trailer. They had them in these barrels, and all different shapes and sizes: small cockroaches, mediums cockroaches, the giant ones. Of course, the giant ones, they called those George. Those were the George cockroaches. And what they did was they'd pour them out of the barrels into the apartment. And, they would just do their thing organically, and they'd let the camera roll. That's, to me, is like, wow. Like, number one, you got to be crazy, right? Like, in order to gain that effect, you've got to be crazy. And to order that many, just absolutely fantastic. I know there was one on the scene story where they poured the cockroaches out, and some of them went right back in their faces. And it was like, I couldn't imagine how shook I would be, because I don't like cockroaches at all. That to me is like one of the most awful bugs that there are. And I think Romero does a good job portraying the horror in this segment. Here you have a guy that's fired people and caused people to kill themselves. He's awful to David Early's character, who, of course, David Early, great character actor who was in, of course, Dawn of the Dead. I always remember him at the beginning. What you're trying to tell me to believe, Doctor? I love the two of them back and forth, going back and forth. Great stuff. He shows up in this, and hey, Mr. Pratt. All right, Mr. Pratt, I'll do it right now. He's very fun in this. I love David Early. And, this guy gets his comeuppance. This guy gets literally eaten from the inside all the way to the outside. And it is just as brutal as you would think it would be. But it's tremendous. It's really tremendously done. I adore how they did the special makeup effects at the end when the cockroaches burst out of the chest of E.G. Marshall, and the music that they play, almost like the music sounds like crawling music. Perfectly done, in my opinion. To me, great body horror, bug horror, creepy, and to a nicer guy, it couldn't happen, because E.G. Marshall was just a real scumbag in this. And to me, it's a perfect, not a real revenge for anybody, but, this guy got his just desserts. And I think it was really smart segment to do that. I love their creeping up on you. Another great creep show segment, in my opinion. Let me scroll up. I got a bunch of comments. Let's see. I think we were here. Her son was going to school out here. Oh, really? That's cool. The Master of Fear is here. What's going on, good brother Devin? Hope all is well with you. Hey, everyone. Rainbow Frights in the Hazy. Oh, I love this one so much. And the cockroaches. I love this segment. It is, the fact they use real cockroaches is just terrifying. Hissing roaches are from that. Oh, they were from Madagascar. Okay, I always thought it was, I don't know why I thought Thailand. I don't know. I know I've heard Romero say it in an interview, and I kick myself now for not remembering that. If it is but John Steele knows his stuff, so I'll go with John Steele. If you ever see Jason Goes to Hell, which was supposed to be the last Friday, really, the crate is in Jason Goes to Hell? I never noticed that. That's wow. Maybe the crate has shown up in all these movies. I just don't know. The crate, hey, Grande, the crate was in Spider-Man 2, was on the train. I don't know. I remember watching Prom Night, and I was shocked at how good Leslie Nielsen is in a serious role. Yeah, no, because a lot of people just think comedic. Cockroaches scene, memorable more than visual. The sound, exactly. And the fact that they were real, like, to me, E.G. Marshall's a trooper. I don't know how comfortable I would have been. I mean, I would have did it, but, like, I don't know how comfortable I would have been. F that, I would have burned down. Well, yeah, no, good luck. If you burn it down, though, those cockroaches ain't going to die, brother. Could have saved him money, and if he came back to the neighborhood then. Yeah, no, probably. Our zoology teacher at school kept hissing cockroaches, and a bunch of them got loose, and the people were freaking out. Haha. Really? Wow. I kill all these cockroaches. Oh, I'm sure you do. I hate cockroaches. They piss me off a lot. The original Prom Night is like I know what you did last summer. You have all these kids. Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit like Valentine too. I always thought it was a little bit like that movie. Got to kill them all. Yeah, no. I wonder if E.G. Marshall got extra. I don't think so. Not with Romero, man. Romero's one of those guys that looked at no money like a blessing. The payoff to the wraparound story was great. Yes, I'm going to get into that too. Maybe they have him in Thailand too, Grande. I don't know. Oh yeah, no. I'm pretty sure. I thought that was where he said. Because I've heard in an interview, he did an interview with like Guillermo del Toro, and he talked about it. He was like, "Oh, we got all those from Thailand." I thought it was Thailand, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Of course, I got to get to the wraparound story before we wrap up Creepshow. The wraparound story, of course, with Joe Hill, Stephen King's son, arguing with Tom Atkins. I don't want him reading that horror crap. He throws it in the garbage. He smacks his son. Again, I guess another revenge plot. There's a lot of, if you look at it, Creepshow, there's so much revenge there. Like, so many of them focus on revenge. Of course, you see Tom Savini is one of the garbage men. It's a comic book. They chew your food before you swallow. Oh, we can't get the voodoo doll. And then, of course, the kid, you see him and he pokes it in the throat and the dad dies. And the film plays that score and we fade to credits. And to me, this is one of those films, and I know people will probably be like, oh, Grande, getting all sentimental on us. But this is honestly how I feel. When this movie comes to an end, I get chills every time. It's the score, the presentation. To me, it's like one of those few horror films that I feel good at the end of it. Like, I don't feel like morbid. I don't feel like I was too challenged as a viewer. There's not a message in here or anything that is too complex. But to me, this is one of the all-time great horror movies and one of the all-time great horror anthologies. And to me, a true classic of the 1980s. This thing came out, it was made for a budget around $8 million. It was like a $21 million maker. So it made its money, made a little bit of a profit. I believe it was Warner Brothers' highest grossing horror film of that year, 1982. It did a lot better than The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, which was the same year, which is another 10 out of 10 movie. But I love Creepshow. To me, the most fun you'll ever have being scared, a true gem, a true movie that I adore. I really like Creepshow. To me, a perfect film, 10 out of 10. Romero, King coming together in their primes, and I think hitting an absolute home run. I love Creepshow. To me, one of the all-time great horror movies of all time. Let's see. Probably the most creepy segment, pun intended. Yeah, no, for real. Why does Jason Goes to Hell the worst Friday the 13th? I have cool Easter eggs. I don't know. I hate Jason Goes to Hell. The only disappointing thing about the first Creepshow is it only had 5. Exactly. You wanted more. And that's we're about to get into the sequel. Aren't you going to? Yeah, that's the show. See, for 51 minutes, I don't think I've said a negative word. Like, we've been positive. But when we get into Creepshow 3, shit's gonna get real. This is gonna probably be a long episode. I'm gonna warn y'all right now. Like, I don't know how long this is gonna go. Billy got his revenge. I want that voodoo doll. Yo, hell yeah. Creepshow made more than The Thing and Halloween. Well, yeah, it definitely made more than Halloween. Halloween 3 is like, that movie bombed. 10 out of 10 for Creepshow, a bloody masterpiece. Yeah, no, absolutely agree with that, man. I love Creepshow. To me, the perfect culmination, the right place, the right time, the right filmmakers, and the right project, I think. I think, to me, imagine if they had just picked The Stand. Like, I like The Stand, it's fine. But, like, to me, like, Romero and King, like, you got those names together, you got to do something crazy. And another prime example of that, if you look at Two Evil Eyes, which was Argento and Romero finally coming together. They picked Edgar Allan Poe. They picked stories already written by Edgar Allan Poe. To me, you're taking away the creative juices that those two guys bring to the table. Then they're just directing, and those two guys as directors are fantastic, but you're taking away what we could have gotten by using Poe. And no disrespect to Poe, but to me, if you get those two names together, you've got to go for it. Because they did here, and they hit a home run. Two Evil Eyes, no, does anybody think Two Evil Eyes is great? Like, I am the biggest Romero Argento mark. And I even will tell you, I don't think it's a good film at all. Like, I think it's actually one of their weakest that they ever did, like, as a whole. Epic. Yeah, this show's going to change when we get to number 3. The original Fog is sort of a revenge story. You have these dead sailors. Yeah, no, I love The Fog, man. That's a great movie. One of Carpenter's best. Creepshow 2 is your personal favorite of the series? Wow, okay, that's interesting. I don't know. Does anybody else feel that way? Does anybody else with Aiden on that one? Justice for Halloween 3, it's an awesome movie. It didn't deserve the hate it got. Agree with that. Two Evils. Sorry, I'm burping like crazy. Two Evil Eyes is fine, but that movie should be one. Exactly, should be. With the names involved, you have to expect more. The art style of Creepshow is perfect. Exactly. We're going to get into that, Tom. That's my biggest problem with Creepshow 2. We're going to get there, though. My favorite of the series. Since you mentioned Poe, do you think King is better than Poe? Wow, that's tough. You know, it's very tough because, I mean, you look at some of the great horror writers. There's a few I think of. Like, and I know nowadays Lovecraft, it's like forbidden. You should never say Lovecraft, but Lovecraft is fantastic. I've studied Lovecraft. I think the guy was he was a piece of shit personally. He was a weirdo personally, but he wrote some good stuff. I mean, the guy, I always remember my favorite H.P. Lovecraft story was these two kids, and they went in to rob a grave. And I forget how they were communicating, because obviously in his days there was no cell phones, but they were communicating one way or another on like a walkie-talkie or so. I forget how. One of them went down to the grave, and the other one was like waiting on top in the cemetery. And the entire story is him explaining what he's seeing. And I don't know how he did it, but he makes you visualize that whole story. You can almost see it play out in front of your eyes if you have an imagination. Lovecraft is just tremendous. Poe is interesting because Poe, it's definitely more like laid back. I don't know how to explain. It's not as extreme or as sexual as a Clive Barker was, or Stephen King could go for it too. So it really depends, man, on what style you're looking for. To me, if I want to lead some more, laid back horror, Poe is a great way to go. But if you want to, read some fucked up shit, with sadomasochism, I want to read Clive Barker all day. I want to hear about some sexy, crazy, fucking funky shit. That's Clive Barker. So I don't know if King is better than Poe. I think it all depends on your, perception. I would say personally, I'll take King. Like I would read King over Poe, but that's not to say that Poe's not great too. I think it's all like what you desire or what you're in the mood for. It's just like ice cream, like chocolate or vanilla. What's better? I don't know. And some days I want vanilla, some days I want chocolate, some days I want strawberry, some days I want cookies and cream. I don't know. They're all great. They're all killer. That's why there's so many different flavors. The first time I saw Creepshow 2 is when I was a kid, when my uncle recorded it, and I still like it a lot. I still like it a lot too. Have you seen the comic book version of the movie? The comic book version of the movie. Do you talk about Creepshow 2? I don't know. What do you mean, good brother Tom? Lovecraft will forever be relevant to horror from here too. Yeah, exactly. And people don't have to like him. Trust me, you don't. I just think the work is good. There's a lot of it, whether it be Dagon. Everybody always, just a lot of great stories, man. I am a huge Argento Mark II Evil Eyes exact. I would say it's like a D. I actually don't really care for that movie. Poe is gothic, exactly, more gothic, old school. Like it's more of its era, and then Stephen King is more of his era. And same thing with like Clive Barker. Like you read it, it's like holy shit, this is some deep stuff. And that's why we love Clive Barker. To me, it's just like whatever speed you're willing to go. Read Ed Lee. Dude writes books about fucking heads. Okay, wow. Okay, that sounds like some crazy literature. Creepshow 2 is fun. I prefer the first one because, well, I love the first two segments and they're fantastic. In this the third segment is good but kind of weak for me. Well, I enjoy all the segs in the first one. Okay, Poe's Telltale Heart is like good King. Okay, I've not read that. I don't blame you, Grande. It should be better. Clive Barker will always be my favorite. Okay, cool. Creepshow 1 comic book with Bernie. No, I haven't. No, I haven't, not at all. I really would like to, though, man. That'd be cool. Let's see. One more comment here. I love the casket of Amontillado. That's my favorite Poe story. Okay, that's another one I haven't read. So I don't know. Maybe you guys give me some Poe recommendations. But in the meantime, when the curtain goes up, the terror begins. 1987's film, directed by Michael Gornick, longtime Romero cameraman and collaborator. This is Creepshow 2. Creepshow 2. Now, this is an interesting film because I personally I like this movie a lot, and I think that it's. I'm sorry, I just got a notification here. It might. I hope the camera's still okay. Creepshow 2 is an interesting film for me. And I'll tell you why. Creepshow 2, it doesn't bring the same style that Romero did. And it's funny because, it's filmed by the same guy. Michael Gornick was the director of photography for Dawn of the Dead. He was the director of photography for Creepshow. So if anyone was going to understand how to make this thing feel like a comic book again, it was going to be Michael Gornick. And that's why I think it was cool that they gave him the shot. They gave him the gig to do this. And I'm happy that they did. But at the same time, I think that he was a first-time director. He was probably nervous. And I do think that some of the rust or some of the nerves, for lack of a better term, do come out in this movie. You can tell this is a first-time director. But with that being said, interesting on the creative side, instead of King writing the stories, George Romero writes all three stories here. And I love Romero's screenplay. And I'd argue that I know I like Creepshow 1 better, This movie is quicker and more rewatchable than the first Creepshow. 2 hours. Okay, I love this movie. It's 2 hours. It's like an hour and 25 minutes before credits. It's quick. It's painless. It's fun. It's a good time. And I think that's why people love Creepshow too. It's very quick. It's very easy movie to like and watch. I just think it misses some of the style that's so prevalent. The lighting, the colors, that's not here. The editing, the creative editing, like I said, going from panel to panel, the kid flipping through the comic book. Even the animation, I think, takes a step down. This is more like, I always thought Fat Albert. I don't know if people have watched Fat Albert, the cartoon. It is like that animation style. It looks more like late 60s, early 70s animation, whereas this, the animation bits in this are just vibrant and so 80s. To me, it looks better, the animation in this film, even though it was 5 years earlier than this movie. So it's very interesting to see that whole dynamic. Let's see. Oh, Anita's watching. Anita, I don't know if you're still watching, babe, but what's up? I see you're watching. I'll give you a shout out. So she texted me here. I say, Anita, I gave you a shout out. I don't know if she can comment. I don't know if she can comment on here. Did she? Maybe. I don't know. I see she's tried to write a comment, maybe. I don't know. But I'm giving you a shout out, babe. Rock on. Let's see some of the comments here. Let's see. Where the heck were we? I think we were here. If you ever see Cat's Eye, dude, I love Cat's Eye. And I did an episode on Cat's Eye. I love Cat's Eye. I know Lovecraft will always have an influence and these cosmic horror stories, but that guy was a piece of crap. He was. Absolutely agree. I like the animated scenes. I like them too, but they're a little bit of a step down. I don't know how to explain it. Like, they're just a slight step down. I really like the wraparound story, and I adore the stories. Whereas Creepshow 1, I think 4 of the segments are great. Father's Day is just good. Okay, I hear that. Hal Holbrook's son plays one of the Hood. Really? Which one is he? Is he Fat Stuff? Which one is he? Old Chief. Yeah, we're going to get into it. Just my opinion. I think that an anthology movie does not help a directorial debut. I agree with that. Maybe there was something else he should have done before this. But again, you think about it, that's the guy that shot Creepshow. So you would think that he's going to come in and be like, okay, I want to do this with the camera. I want to do that with the camera, if that's his background. Like, I always look back at and this is a weird fucking like comparison, but I look back at Cat in the Hat. Cat in the Hat was directed by Bo Welch. And if you don't know who Bo Welch was, he's like an Academy Award worthy production designer. And that was his first film. So, he comes to Hollywood. He's a production designer, successful for 10 plus years. Then he steps in the director's chair to direct The Cat in the Hat. And that movie, you watch it, the production value of Cat in the Hat is tremendous. The movie falters everywhere else. That's the problem. So I would think the style would be here with Creepshow 2, but it's not. It's really not. The stories, the dialogue, the acting, all that stuff is fine. It's just the style is gone. So to me, that's the one step back from this movie. But does that hurt this movie? I don't think so at all. I still think this is a very enjoyable film. Let's see. Dorothy Lamore, who played Martha Spruce. Atuyate Martha Spruce. It was her last film. Was it really? Oh, that's a shame. May she rest in peace. Would you say Creepshow got worse the farther it went on? Would you say Creepshow got worse the further it went on? I'm sorry, I just said father. Creepshow 3 is the worst. The Hitchhiker and the Raft will always be my favorite. Okay. Wow, of the series. I do like Tom Savini as the host. Yeah, no, I like him. Hey, Billy. I like that. I think that's great. This hair is going to get me paid and laid, baby. I love, dude. Holt McCallany as the lead heel is tremendous in this. He almost reminds me of like a young Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Like, just the it took me 9 years to grow this hair. We're going to get into it. Holt McCallany. Yes, I know. I love him, man. I love Holt McCallany. He's great. No, exactly. Are you referring to the original cartoon Cat in the Hat? I'm sorry, the live action remake. Bo Welch directed it. And it's just one of those things where I watch it. I'm like, man, like, look at the production value. This is incredible. What did they have anybody else do anything else, like to write or direct or do something? Like, to me, that's sometimes what happens. Cat in the Hat is one of the best bad movies. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe one day we'll do a fucking a commentary on that. Savini had a huge creep dong, probably. Oh, geez, I don't. Will is, dude, man. I don't know. That edible might be killing you, man. Creepshow 2, though. Of course, the first story, Old Chief Woodenhead, again, we're talking Creepshow, another story of revenge. You gotta love it. This old couple played by George Kennedy and, of course, Dorothy Lamore, they own this convenience store. The town around them, it's like the town of Dead River, and the town of Dead River is living up to its name, blah, 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 blah. She and he are visited by this like Indian chief guy. And he comes in and he gives them these like very valuable gems, and here guys, I want to give you these, and George Kennedy at first said, I can't accept this, this is, I know how much this means to you, and he's like, oh no, don't worry about it, like, please, I trust you, and it's a nice moment that they have between each other, and he says, I'll guard him with my life, and they have this nice moment, good afternoon, he leaves, and all of a sudden these three heels show up. Of course, one of them is, Fat Stuff. The other one's Rich Boy. And the third one, the lead heel, is Holt McCallany. And he has this long hair. And they're very over-the-top villains, but they're a lot of fun. They're totally Creepshow-worthy villains, in my opinion. I love them. I think they're fantastic in this. And their lines are like Fat Stuff's laugh, like shut up, lady, or I'll shove this in your mouth. He's like, or shove this in your mouth. And his laugh is just so over the top. He's like, ah! Like funny laugh, like very funny laugh. I like Fat Stuff in this. And they basically bully this couple into giving them all their money. And then, the lead heel, he's cutting a promo. I'm going to go to Hollywood, baby. You know how many thousands of women are going to love to rub this hair up and down their legs? It's going to get me paid and laid, baby. I don't know why, but it's just very funny to watch. You're like, geez, this is really cheesy. But it does get serious because he goes to get the jewels, and I'll give you your wife back, but you better give me the jewels. Over here, lady. They're arguing, and then accidentally or purposely, however you want to say, he does shoot Dorothy Lamore with the shotgun. And George Kennedy's performance as he walks over and he's about to cry, it's your heart in that moment is broken. You're like, oh my God, I feel terrible for him right now. And they shoot him dead too. And That Stuff throws up. I ain't never seen nothing like that before. They go walk out, and of course, Sam, he gives his one last promo. No more living on eating dust. Boom. No more living on nothing. Boom. We're going to make it in the big time, baby. And he shoots the chief outside, the old Chief Woodenhead, who had just got his war paint put on in the morning. And this plays out like a classic revenge story. The old chief goes for his revenge for the elderly couple. And it is tremendous. I love the revenge. I love the war cry. I love that they're all watching the same movie on TV. Loco! He gets the arrow to the head, and his hat says bullshit. And Rich Boy, he's in the garage, and you see the silhouette, the shadow of old Chief Woodenhead. Wham! And then the blood just spatters on the wall. Tremendous. And then, of course, the last guy, which I wish you had seen more of this, but again, 87 onward, probably to like 91, 92, the MPAA was a stickler for gore and stuff like that, so it is cut. He pulls him through the wall and scalps him. Of course, it cuts, but I think you get the full idea and full effect of it. It's tremendously done. I think it's fantastic. But yeah, no, I love the revenge there. And then of course you see the chief standing on top, holding the scalp in his hand, and you see the guy that gave the jewels. He's like, Akuyape, Chief Woodenhead. Really cool story. I think a great story of revenge. There's a lot of heart in there. Some good acting by George Kennedy and Dorothy Lamore. I think they do great. The lead heels are great. To me, it's another great opener, another great Creepshow segment. I actually have a shirt that says Old Chief Woodenhead on it, and it's a cool shirt. I love Old Chief Woodenhead, man. One of my favorites. I'm trying. I don't remember where I left off. If I left your comment, please recomment. Chief Woodenhead is my second favorite segment in part 2. Yeah, I love it. There are still some general stores like Trader Joe's. Dude, yeah, there's a Trader Joe's not too far from me. Was the real actor even Native American? No, he's definitely not Native American. I know that much. I don't even have to look that up to know that. Chief Woodenhead is wonderful, and it took me 9 years to grow that hair, man. Yeah, no, it's going to get me paid and laid, Fat Stuff. Last week, we had a conversation about rhinos and elephants, and now we're talking about Savinia Creepdog. It is not going in the gutter, Miss C, all right? We're going to be okay. I promise we're going to be okay. Sam Whitemoon and his friends got exactly. They did, man. Sam Whitemoon. That's such a Romero, like only Romero. There is a horror book anthology series. Dude, if I don't know how familiar you are with my channel. Back in October, I actually had some people come on and record their own scary story to tell in the dark. Like they pick one out of the book and read it in the dark. It was a really fun thing to do around October time. If you want, there's a playlist somewhere on my channel of all of those. Rainbow Fright did one. She did hers is the best by a mile. But if you like those, man, we read them. Yeah, Chief Woodenhead is just a solid revenge story. It's tied for with the Raft. They're both just excellent segments. Yeah, no, completely. I love the location. Yeah, me too. It's just desolate. Like it's a good one. Chief Woodenhead is the best segment and would love to fit in the original. So here's one, Mr. Tom. If you could have fit it in the original, which one would you have taken out? So what is your least favorite of the original if you could have inserted this one in? That's a question for you. Creep. You guys are the worst. It's not as bad. Last week was bad. Last week we went a little fucking far. Sam Whitemoon, you could definitely tell Romero wrote this. But yeah, exactly. I don't know why. It's just something he would say. Yeah, no, he was not really. There ain't no goddamn way that guy was really Native American. Let's see. Oh, she answered. Okay, let's see. Usar. Sorry, I'm translating. Hold on one sec, ladies and gents. I want to just see what the heck. No worries. I have to make an account. Oh, no worries. If you're still watching, babe, no worries. No worries, babe. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the muchas gracias para tu support. ¿Cómo se dice support? Well, I don't know. But muchas gracias, babe. Mucho love. The Rhino talk. Yeah, no, that was bad. That was bad. The graveyard last week was in the fucking gutter. This week we're okay. I was just messing with you, bro. Yeah, no, I totally agree. No worries. The original A Nightmare on Elm Street is a revenge story. Freddy wants to get revenge on the lynch mob. Yeah, no, you think about it. Revenge is such an interesting horror trope. It's so prevalent everywhere. It really is. To me, I don't know. I love revenge plots. Like a lot of revenge horror is just great. That one was bad. Not take one out, dude. So 6 stories, man. Okay, I love it. Ayuda is support or help. I know that. Yeah, I know that one. I'm learning. I have this app called Duolingo, and it helps you learn. It's a lot of fun. I'm doing well on it. I have like 30 something crowns. I'm doing better. I'm sorry. My sister used to have a Venus flytrap. Oh, okay. That's the wraparound story. But let's get into the one I'm rocking on the shirt. And Anita, you picked this shirt. I don't know if you're still here, babe. I don't know if you're still here, but she picked this shirt. The Raft, the lovely bonbon titled The Raft. The Raft. Now, this may be my favorite Creepshow segment of them all. And to me, it's honestly the most 80s of all the Creepshow segments. It's really, really, really 80s. I have the need for weed. And they're driving along the road and personal foul and number 88 for illegal use of hands. And the 4 teens, a lot of people will tell you they're bad actors. They probably are. But they're entertaining, and they are like, the minute it starts, you're like, oh, all right, I'm in this. I'm the 5th person in this car. Like, let's go to the Raft, man. Let's not maybe go swimming, but that's because you know what's going to happen. These kids, they go out into the water. The water's cold, Pancho. The stuff they're talking to each other. Romero does a great job writing this film. They're really like memorable characters and dialogue. They swim out to the Raft and they get on, and there's this like black goo monster coming for them. And to me, I always thought it looked like just like a trash bag that like people would have hold up and like swim through the water. I mean, yeah, it sort of does look like that, but it is well enough done to me. Like, I don't know. It has a certain charm to it. I don't know. The effects in this movie was actually Howard Berger. So this was sort of, right around the time K&B became a thing. I think Intruder was the first film they worked on. And not a lot of people realize that Intruder was made in 1987, didn't get released until 89. So, Howard Berger, right around the time he was starting to become up big, who wants a bigger project to do than Creepshow 2? So pretty cool stuff. This black goo monster that grabs one of the women out of the raft and into the water. And that's what I put as the thumbnail, is her reaching. It hurts. Great horror. To me, that's one of the great visuals of this movie. You know, and when a movie that I say lacks a little bit of style, that shot in particular is like one of probably the money shot of this movie. Her reaching out, it hurts, and she like dissolves her skin, and it's brutally done. And then of course Deke, what the fuck is that, Poncho? What the fuck is that? And it grabs him from the bottom, and he breaks his leg, and oh my god, just his death is the most brutal. You're like, oh man, like that guy got messed up. But it's great. It's really, really good stuff. And then, of course, the last two, they're holding on to each other for body warmth. The lead guy, which I don't know, man. I don't know about y'all. Maybe we'll get into some, like, I don't know, stories from last week. It comes down to these two, and they're holding on to each other. And the girl, she takes a nap, and he starts to try to cop a feel. What person in their right mind at this time, when both your friends have been eaten by a black goo monster on a raft, would you try to cop a feel? Like, my guy, like, there are good times to do that, and there are bad times to do that. You just picked a bad time to do that. And the blob creature gets her by the face, and just a little bit gets on, and then every shot back and forth, you see there's more and more and more until she's dragged into the water. It's tremendous. It's really tremendous how it's all done. And she gets dragged in and just dissolved. And he decides, let's make a swim for it. He jumps in the water, he's swimming, and I do think he does a good job, the director here, of building tension. There's a lot of tension to it. You're like, oh my God, is he going to make it? Is he not going to make it? He gets to the shore. I beat you. And then all of a sudden, the goo pops up, almost like Jason jumping out of the water, grabs him, and gobbles him right up. And then you see they pan out, they go to the side, and it's no swimming. Great stuff. Absolutely great stuff. I love that segment. Arguably my favorite segment of the entire series. Like, to me, everything that I love about the 1980s is in this segment. Just the dialogue, the stuff they're wearing, the music, the special makeup effects, the idea of it. Just these kids going out to a raft getting eaten. Somehow it's great. Like, I don't know how it's so good, but it is. I love the raft. I adore it. And I love this shirt. This is one, it's funny, it says Graveyard on the back, not because of me, but this was a shirt I resurrected from Fright Rags. So you see, Fright Rags, they had this thing where you could vote for all these years, and you could vote to promote shirts that went out of print back. And I voted enough times, this shirt came back in print for like a week, and I ordered it. I love it. The Raft, so one of my faves. And thank you, Anita, for watching and picking the shirt. She picked the shirt, so I just wanted to give her a shout out there. She said she couldn't comment; she didn't have an account, so it's no worries. I appreciate the support as always, babe. Wow, there's a lot of comments on this one. Let me see. My sister used. Okay, we stop there. The Raft is a fantastic story and a number one, dude. Yeah, no, I would say the Raft of this film is easily the best. I like the Los Angeles Chargers. Me too. They're a cool team. I'm a Steelers guy, but I like them too. I like Justin Herbert. The Raft is so simple. Exactly. Simplicity. That's why I think the Raft works. It's just so basic. It's funny. The whole film is sort of basic. There's not really much here. It's very standard, but it works. It has a charm to it. I love the Raft. It's so fucked and brutal, but in a subtle way, it didn't need blood and guts to be incredibly brutal. Yeah, no, totally agree with that. The University of St. John used to be called the Red Man's. Okay. Just like the Blob. Yeah, no, definitely. The Last Man was being a total red. Yeah, no, I don't know what the hell. I love the line. Yes, we're going to get there. That's the next segment. Mateo asks, what's your take on 6 segments in the first film, 3 in the second? What is your favorite format? Okay, hold on. So the first film is 5 stories in the wraparound. This movie is 3 stories in the wraparound. I think it's funny. I would have probably done somewhere in the middle, maybe 4 stories and the wraparound. That way it's technically 5. You have the 5th story to wrap everything up, and then the 4 main ones. This way you have a movie that goes about an hour 40, hour 45 minutes. That's probably what I would have done. But that's not the same. Like, to me, this movie, I think the reason why people rewatch it is because it's so short. It's because it's just 3 movies. Like, by the end of the Raft, you're like, oh, this thing's almost over. You're over an hour in, and that's it. Like, but Creepshow 1, when you're an hour in, you're at the crate. The crate's the longest, and then by the time they're creeping up on you starts, that's when it's like 20 minutes left in the film. I don't know. I would say 4, and then a wraparound. So technically 5. But to me, man, like I love both these movies. Like I have no complaint. As long as they're not Creepshow 3, which we're gonna get there, man. And I don't know. My head may explode. Talk about choosing the worst time there's a good monster trying to kill you. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what, like, I don't care who was there. Like, not that time, and wrong place, wrong time. The Raft and Thanks for the Ride Home have the weakest production values. The Hitchhiker's the weakest. We're going to get there. I beat you. Yeah, no, I love that. I beat you. Not really. Not really, pal. Randy should have gotten the car in the first place. Well, I mean, I don't know. Thanks for the ride, lady. I don't know. I'm actually interested to hear what people think of the Hitchhiker because it's one of the most beloved or hated ones. The music in Creepshow 2 is very good. Yes. So it was done by, oh my God, I think, she managed to see the last greetings. Thanks, babe. I'm happy. The music in Creepshow 2 is pretty damn good as well. I believe it was, who did the fucking music? And I looked it up today. Please say it on the back. Bail me out. Les Reed. Les Reed did the music, and Rick Wakeman also did The Burning. I think it's interesting. It's not as good as Harrison's score, but then again, what is? It's very good though. It's like do 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 ba 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 ba. It's good. I think the score in this is pretty good too. I like the score in this. The Raft is such a good one. Yeah, no. It's just a loon. Yeah, it is exactly. Talk about choosing the word. Yeah, no, exactly. I don't know what my man was thinking. Like, I don't know. At the end of the craft, the camera pans to no swimming sign. Yes. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Also, one of the women in the Raft wearing a university shirt from the first film. Wow, I didn't notice that. Wow, that's a cool one. I like it when Bill kicked the bully in the balls. Yeah, no. Glad they did the TV show due to that bullshit ass third film, Redemption. Hell yeah. I watched Creepshow 2. My mom rented it and was always a fave of mine. Love the first and second. It has 3 bangers. Yeah, totally, man. I love that. That's awesome. I love stories like that. Hey, the sign said no swimming, so they all kind of got what they deserved. I don't know, man. They don't think they deserve that. Anita, you're here. Oh my God, I had to do everything to be able to comment. Anita, welcome to the graveyard. How do I welcome? I don't know how to say welcome in Espanol, but thank you for watching, babe. I appreciate it. Lois Childs is excellent as Annie Lansing. She was also in Moonraker. Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that. But I guess that's a perfect transition to the final story of Creepshow Part 2, The Hitchhiker. Probably the weakest, I would say, of the first 2 films, the weakest segment. I would probably go out on a limb and say that. But even so, I think this one has some fun merit. This basically stars this woman who is trying to... The setup for this is funny. So she's banging this guy on the side against her husband. And like the opening of the segment is bizarre. Like it's bizarre. Like it's very weird. He's like, I counted 6 orgasms. And she's like, yeah, I know, you did. Very odd shit. And then she's driving home. She's trying to beat her husband home. And she's like, oh, if I don't make it home by 12, blah, 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 blah. She ends up hitting this guy in a raincoat. She almost kills him. Well, she sort of does kill him, but not really. I don't know. I'm never going to understand if she did or not. I have no idea. But she hits him, and then basically the rest of the segment is this hitchhiker haunting her and all this stuff, and it's really fun stuff. Bienvenido. Thank you. Welcome to the graveyard. The Hitchhiker. Then we move on to your favorite Grande. Oh no, see, Devin just here to see me get mad. Like I could be positive for an hour and a half. And Devin is just here to see me explode. I got to see if I can find these Creepshow movies I watched years ago, but don't remember exactly. But talking about them, Grande is bringing back vague memories. That's awesome. Thanks for the ride, lady. Hands down, my favorite segment, and the actor plays the hit. Oh yes, Tom Wright. Tom Wright, I think his name is. He does a good job. I think this one is just very fun, like and cheesy and weird, and like I don't know what it is about this one. But I don't know what it is about this, but it's a little bit cheesy. It's the weakest to me though, because it doesn't have as much charm as the first 2, and it's not as engaging. It's sort of just the same thing for 20 minutes. And then of course, the hitchhiker gets her, the husband comes home and finds the sign in her hands, like Dover, and then transitions out. And then we have the whole wraparound where this kid's being bullied. It's a weird wraparound. It's okay. Like these bullies get eaten by the Venus flytraps. Interesting. I know people like that. I think the animation, like I said, it's like Fat Albert almost. But I dig this movie. I really do dig this movie. To me, it's a step down, but it's a slight step down. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing like out of the ordinary. To me, it's a slight step down. But I like the first two stories enough. And I think the music is well done. I think Michael Gornick does a good job. I just think he may have been a little too inexperienced to capture that same style, tone, feel, and lighting of the original Creepshow. It's impossible to follow George Romero, even if you're a disciple of George Romero. Just sometimes it's just so hard. But I do think he did a good enough job. And I wish he would have got another shot to direct something feature length. I don't think he ever directed anything feature length again, which is a shame. Because I don't think this is a movie where I watch it and go, oh, well, I'm sure the guy never went on to do anything. You should have went on to do some more, I think. That's just me, though. I like this movie. Creepshow 2, it's going to get a solid 8 out of 10 for me. A very rewatchable film. When the curtain goes up, the terror begins. To me, a great 80s horror sequel, in my opinion. Bienvenida, female. Mateo, your character. I always know Creepshow 3 was Grande's favorite. Yeah. Hi, Anna. Welcome to the graveyard. The first story was shot in Flagstaff, Arizona. The bullies got what they had coming. Definitely. The bullies did have what they had, get what they had coming. Oh, boy, though. That brings us to Creepshow 3. I guess we could do a little window dressing here because I know people, people expect a giant rant and me to go crazy. And I don't know if it's worth it. I don't even know if it's worth it. I mean, I'll try to be entertaining, but if I'm going to get mad, I don't want to get mad. I don't know. I'm trying to be positive here. Hey, I think I like to hear you talk positive, Grande, but this is Creepshow 3, Arch Nemesis. How do you expect me not to hear your shit on it? Oh, well, no. I do not expect that. I'm just saying, it's the hour and 26-minute wait to hear me bash this film. It's funny. I remember hearing about this film in like 2005, the ramblings started of it. I believe at first there was a web series that was going to happen, and Wilmer Valderrama directed the pilot. That never came to be. It never premiered, never aired anywhere. So, I mean, it is what it is. I don't know why that was the case. But with that being said, that was it. And then along came the Doodle Sins. And let me know. My Wi-Fi might be fucking up here. I see the bar going up and down now. I'm getting a little paranoid. Along came the Doodle Sins. And if you don't know who the Doodle Sins are, the Doodle Sins have directed some terrible, terrible films that I had seen and was familiar with before this one. Horror 101, Horror 102, Day of the Dead 2, Contagium. They've made some of the worst horror films I have ever seen. They make Uwe Boll look like Roger Corman. And that's, you could quote me on that shit because it's bad. With that being said, though, I knew I was in trouble when I heard about it. And basically what their MO was to do was to take the rights, buy the rights for movies that George Romero didn't have the rights to anymore. Like Day of the Dead. They bought the rights to Day of the Dead, did Day of the Dead 2 Contagium. They bought the rights to Creepshow and did the sequel to Creepshow 2, Creepshow 3. That was their MO. To make shit-ass sequels to the things that George Romero and Stephen King made great. And to me, like what I was giving you guys at the beginning, the origin story of how Creepshow came and these two guys, the top of their game in their prime, coming together and making the masterpiece that is Creepshow. These two people come along, James Doodleson and Anna Claval, and did the opposite. They came together and gave just the biggest jolting piece of shit that the world has ever known. And I hate this movie. And I actually think this is my least favorite movie of all time. So we're going to get into this because I'm going to try to keep my cool, but I don't know. This might be, especially if Anita's still watching, I don't want her to see me get mad because this movie stinks. Creepshow 2 should burn in hell. Yeah, I agree with that. I got to go for now. Bye. Dude, rock on, man. Thanks for checking out the show. The biggest difference in the two movies for me was I didn't want the first one to end, but I couldn't wait for the second one to end. Still much better than 3, though. Oh, well, yeah, no, anything is better than Creepshow 3. Oh snap! Here comes the origins. Yeah, no, it's like just like me telling Hatchet. Is Grande's head's gonna start spinning? No, I'm gonna try not to. At least I'm gonna try. No, yeah, no, the Wi-Fi is bug. I can see it's bugging out in the corner. I'm a little bit nervous. The producer of Creepshow 3 should be arrested. Yeah, no. They made the best out of the series, right? Oh no. To say this movie looks like shit would be an understatement. Blaine and Antone hated it. Yeah, no. Absolutely hate it. The first segment. And you know how, okay, Creepshow, right? We're making a Creepshow film. Why don't we go through the comic book just like these first two movies do? Nope. So strike one, James Littleson and Anna Clavel. Instead, we get this shitty 2003 PowerPoint animation that looks like it was made on fucking Windows Movie Maker. And it is the shittiest animation you will ever see in your life. It is terrible. Like, you're just like, what the hell? It's this person walking along the sidewalk, and we get Creepshow 3, the title, in fucking ketchup. Ketchup. They squirt a ketchup bottle, and it says Creepshow 3. Ketchup. Maybe that was all they could afford. Maybe they couldn't afford to actually just put Creepshow in nice, bold, vibrant letters. Instead, they used ketchup. Ketchup. You want some ketchup on your fucking hot dog? No, motherfucker. I don't want no fucking hot dog from you. Whatever. The first segment is called Alice, and it is about this dumb bitch, right? That is walking home, is on the phone with her friend. She's bitching about her life. She goes into her house and finds her father messing around with a universal remote. What does this universal remote cause in this movie, you might ask? I'll tell you. It changes the family's ethnicity. They turn into an African-American family. Then they turn into a Hispanic family. Then for some reason, the lead girl turns into this like blob creature with like all these blobs and horrible shit all over her. And nobody else so she doesn't turn ethnicity, but they do. And they don't turn into blob creatures. She does. You're just like, what the hell is this? Like, what? Then for some reason, she leaves the house because they're ready to kill her. They don't recognize her, even though she sounds the same. And she goes into some guy's house and starts eating stuff. Why? Why are you eating stuff in a random man's house? What are you doing? Like, what? Like, why am I watching this? It's terrible. She goes back to the house and they have a gun. The family is going to shoot their own daughter because she has boils and blobs everywhere. And then this random, professor guy shows up and he's like, oh, I know what to do. And it turns her into a fucking rabbit. And then the family's like, oh, our daughter who? They forget about the daughter. And they I don't even understand. All of a sudden, the fucking bunny isn't a thing. And I think what they were going for, trying to be clever, or Clavel, if you will, I think what they're going for is the Alice in Wonderland reference, because Alice turns into a bunny. I think that's what they're going for. I have no idea. It's bad, though. Like, it's like one of the worst things I've ever watched, the opening segment of this movie. And it actually gets worse from there. Let's get back into the comments here. Strike one. Yeah, no, strike one for real. Get it. Hot dogs are actually dead. Yeah, no, I don't know. That's not ketchup. It's the blood of this wonderful series. Yeah. And for the fans that loved this stuff, right? Maybe they get a big endorsement from Heinz. Yeah, maybe not. This movie was made with a budget of $5 and a ham sandwich. This movie fucking sucks. I would have probably forgotten about this film's existence if it wasn't for your hatred. Oh, I'm glad. I wish I could forget about it. Fuck Creepshow 3. The first segment is about a little girl getting tortured for being a little whiny. And yeah, it is, bro. Like, it is bad. This is terrible. Brother Will, thank you so much for watching, man. Love you. Dude, I love you too, man. And I promise we'll definitely get together sometime soon. Catch up the way every film should start. Well, I don't know, man. I don't agree with that. The wraparound has a crap. Oh my God, dude. And the shitty CGI. We'll get there. The second story might be the most stupid. Actually, that's impossible. These are all stupid. The next story is called The Radio. And the radio tells the story of this fucking guy who doesn't own a TV or a cell phone, or he's just completely living in the past. He only has a radio. and his radio breaks on him one day. And so he goes not to the store to buy radio, because radios are expensive. A radio's fucking expensive. Are you serious? Whatever. Maybe for the people that made this movie, they're expensive. He goes and doesn't buy one from a store. He buys it from a peddler on the street and buys this radio from him. And then he brings the radio back to his house. And for some reason, the radio is like a woman and is like flirting with him. And he decides that he wants to impress the woman radio. Did he want to fuck the radio? What did he want to do with the radio? What the hell? Like, do you like put it in the aux cord? Like, what the fuck? Bizarre. He's trying to impress the woman radio, and the woman radio tells him to commit murder and crimes and rob people. And like, why he listens, I will never know. Why would you listen to a female radio? Why would you listen to a radio that tell you to do anything? It's just crazy. And like, I don't know, man. It's just bad. Like, to me, it's like terrible. And the whole twist at the end is, oh, there's like 5 people intertwined in this to have a radio. There's like a fucking whore that has one. There's a pimp that has a radio. Like, everybody has a radio, and it's all like, she's the mastermind. She's playing all these people against each other like chess. It is terrible. Like, to me, if the meat and potatoes behind your story is trying to impress a woman radio, you have lost all credibility. Like, I don't know. That's just me. Let's see. The rapper. Yeah, no. The radio who made that garbage. If I wrote that segment, I would be ashamed. Yeah, no, it fucking stinks. Oh, I forgot about this segment. Yeah, no, it's very bad. It's very bad, man. It's terrible. One of the worst ones in this film, and they're all bad. The next one, the Call Girl Killer. Yes, the Call Girl Killer. The Call Girl Killer tells a story about this call girl who likes to murder people. Very original, very good, very wow. I mean, golf clap. Wow, I never saw this coming. She is murdering all these people. This guy calls her, hey, I want to have sex. Okay, blah, 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 blah. She shows up at his house, and we see that he's sort of a demon/vampire thing, and he's got dead bodies in the living room. And that's the big twist, is that she thinks she's going to go in there and kill him, but on the flip side, he's going to kill her. Okay. She, chains him up, like puts handcuffs to the bed. She stabs the shit out of him. All terrible CGI gore. She goes to take a shower in the guy's fucking house, which why? Just leave. You just murdered somebody. Why would you not get the fuck out of there? And then she takes the pillow off his face, and he's like a demon, and it looks like shit. It looks like the effect from Fright Night, but done like shit. And the guy screams and like rips through the chains and bites her in the neck. And that segment, like, what? Like, what was the point of that? Like, it's just terrible, man. It's terrible. I can't stand that segment either. Geez, this movie is terrible. The fourth segment is these bunch of dummies, these 2 idiots that are they were students of the professor that we see in the first segment. By the way, all these segments, instead of the classic animation transitions from story to story, this is like trying to do like Kevin Smith and View Askew. They all take place in the same universe. Yeah, right. Fuck you. I hate this movie. So these 2 idiots, they go, and the professor is like having them over for dinner, and he has this hot Russian wife, and they're like, oh, how do you have this hot Russian bitch that wants to marry you, professor? Oh, she might be a robot. Let's rip her apart. And they fucking rip her apart because they think she's a robot. What? And it looks terrible. And the floor is CGI. The fucking floor. The new Texas Chainsaw Massacre has CGI rocks. Creepshow 3 has a fucking CGI floor. It looks like they're in fucking Blue's Clues. And Jesus Christ. It's like, the floor? What? Like, you can put blood on the floor, like just get a mop and it'll clean it up. And they have her decapitated head, and it looks like a fucking barbershop head that they stole from a barbershop. It's bad. Like, it looks like, everybody know Al Snow? It looks like a fucking Al Snow head, like, and they're just like, oh, we decapitated her. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, it's bad. It's like unbearably bad. I don't understand. A CGI floor. A floor. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. Like, you can use my fucking floor. Jesus. Like, Could they not afford a floor? Like, Jesus Christ, man. I don't know. I have to go to comments because I'm losing my shit. I need to go to comments. Where the hell was I? I don't remember. You're just blazing through these stories. You must be like, yeah, no, I can't. If I dwell on it, I'm gonna lose my mind, and I don't want that to happen. I'm just trying to leave my sanity. Trench Creepshow 3 or Humpty Dumpty. You must watch one. I would watch Humpty Dumpty 3 times before. Stop being so cruel. The call girl segment has that shitty, fluffy human. Yeah, no, fuck that shit. I don't know. Were you laughing at something I said, John Steele? I don't know. Your enthusiasm about talking Creepshow 3 is awesome. Hanging there, Grande. It's almost done. I'm trying to breeze through it. I'm trying. Is Creepshow 3 just seriously trying to be like Pulp Fiction or Tarantino film? What? What? It's trying to be like a shitty Kevin Smith movie. Like, it's a really shitty View Askew movie. Tales from the Hood 2 is better than this. Dude, Tales from the Hood 3 is even better than this. Dude, it is, bro. The floor. They're like walking up and down. I'm like, motherfucker, you couldn't afford a floor? Like, what? Like, you can literally go in my kitchen if you wanted, motherfuckers. Like, $5 in a ham sandwich, folks. They couldn't afford a floor. Grande started, yeah, no, I see. I was trying to avoid this. They killed her just because they thought she was a robot. I think these characters, yes, they do. They're like, oh, Professor, you can't be banging that Russian poontang pie. You must have created her. Let's murder her. What? Why don't you just ask? Like, is this bitch a robot? I would just ask. Like, why would you tear somebody apart on a floor that's not even there? Like, Jesus Christ. CGI floor is seriously, it's hard to buy flooring. Bullshit. Bullshit. You could have fucking, wherever the hell they filmed this, which was probably in somebody's fucking house. If you're in somebody's house, they have a floor in the house, all right? They may not have a couch. They may not have a pot to piss in. They may not have a stove. They may not have a fucking radio, but they may have a fucking floor, all right? Come on. Come on. I understand that tiling may be expensive, but fuck that shit. That's a bunch of bullshit, all right? You need to afford a floor. They tear her apart, and then they decide to tell the professor, oh, my God, we fucked up. She's real, whatever. And that segment ends, and it's terrible. And then we get into the final segment, which is possibly the worst of the bunch. It's the worst of the bunch. It's the longest. It's like 40 minutes long. At least I remember it being that long. It's called Haunted Dog. Haunted Dog tells the story of this piece of shit, like, medical guy. Doctor, whatever. I don't fucking remember what he was. He's a fucking piece of shit. He's racist, sexist. He's a piece of shit. And he's walking to work one day and decides to buy a hot dog. He drops the fucking hot dog and a bum chokes to death on the hot dog. Mind you, there's like a pound of dirt on the... You could afford dirt, but you couldn't afford a floor. But you could afford the hot dog that you made, probably in your fucking house, and dirt on it. And this fucking hobo eats the hot dog with a pound of dirt on it. Just brush the dirt off, you fucking hobo. What the fuck? He eats the hot dog with the dirt on it and chokes to death and dies on the hot dog. And then the guy comes back from the dead and starts haunting the guy with the fucking hot dog and offering him a hot dog. Want my hot dog? I swear that's what's said in this. You want my hot dog, from a ghost to this man. And he eventually scares the man to death. And that's a 40-minute segment in this film. Like, what the hell are you doing? We went from Father's Day to a fucking haunted hot dog. Like, what the hell are you thinking, man? Like, Jesus Christ. It's bullshit, man. You fucking son of a bitches. Like, and, like, I'll never forget the first time I watched this movie. I knew it was going to be bad. I knew that they were trying to bank off King and Romero's name, but I didn't think I'd get this mad. I was furious. I remember leaving. I had to take a walk. I had to cool off. Like, I was like pissed. I was like, you motherfuckers. Like, you fucking bought the rights and then just decided to make a shitty movie. And, like, to me, completely shit on the legacy that these two movies created. And, like, why I'm a horror fan. It's a big reason, is a George Romero and a Stephen King. And to make a movie this poor all these years later and drag the name of Creepshow through the mud, shit, hot dogs, and CGI floor that you drug it to, you can kiss my ass, Creepshow 3. Bunch of bullshit. Jeez, I don't remember where we were. CGI floor 10 out of 10. Bro, the CGI floor is just the worst. Like, what the fuck? Grande, come on, lumber is expensive. Bro, I understand, but you could have fucking just used whatever floor you had. Like, I don't know. Go outside and rip the bitch apart. Rip her apart on somebody's lawn. Jesus. Were the directors seriously trying to redo the Hitchhiker segment? LMAO, that's pathetic, man. I don't know what they were trying to do. I think they were just trying to fucking. Well, I don't want to be erased or anything. I have some mean shit I would say about them, but I don't want to be canceled on my own show. Grande, Creepshow 3 was every second of watching it pain. Yeah, no, it was. It was. You fucking hobo. Take the dirt off of the fucking hot dog before you eat it, you stupid bastard. Like, okay, that guy was a piece of shit, but like, you should have cleared the dirt off the hot dog. Am I crazy for saying that? Like, come on. Like, oh my God, Devin is having a good time. Warning: side effects of watching Creepshow 3 include intense, angry rambling, trouble to get your ideas out, crazy hand gestures, lack of speech at times, emotional scarring for life. Yeah, I would agree with that. That should be a warning on the back of the box. You want this hot dog? Thanks for the ride, lady. For this bullshit. Yeah, no. Runaway, killer hot. Yep, killer hot dog. I shit you not. This is a middle. It is. That's why I hate it. Like, I hate the Elm Street remake. I think it's a middle finger to everything the original Nightmare on Elm Street stood for. And I hate this movie in the same way. It's a middle finger for everything that Stephen King and George Romero worked for in their careers. And to buy the rights and make a shit-ass sequel just because you can does not mean you should. Like, for example, let's say, hey, Grande, you have the rights to Creepshow. What would you do? And right now, I'll tell you, I don't have the money to go make a fucking film as good as either one of these two movies. I don't have the money to do it. I'm going to invest. I'm going to try to find somebody who does have money, somebody who can afford a floor. Your inner angry video game nerd is coming out. Well, dude, I'm sorry. It's a bunch of shit. 0 out of 10. Absolute. I would give it a negative 10 out of 10. I hate the hot dog segment. It's funny because the little girl gets boils and turns into a blob and shot at by her own family while the racist guy just gets scared to death. What the fuck? I have no fucking clue. I don't know. This movie's a piece of shit. Creepshow 3, give me a franchise that I dump on it. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think it's the worst movie of all time. Like, are there technically worse movies? Yes. Like, yes, definitely. There are movies that are even lower budget than this. But to me, to drag this name along with you, it's the worst movie of all time. In my opinion. CGI 10. Okay, I know. AJ, I didn't know you were here. AJ's intro. I need to see part 3 out of spite. Dude, don't. I'm telling you, if there's one movie I wish I could take back, it's this one. I would take it back. I swear to you. And I've seen some fucked up films, man. This one, I take it back. Did the Hitchhiker guy just want to give his hot dog to the lady too? Maybe he did. I don't know. Thanks for the ride, lady. Thanks for the hot dog, lady. I don't know. Maybe he did. Tagline should be the most angry you'll ever be watching a scary movie. Maybe. I don't know, man. Even the box cover is terrible too. Like, oh my God, it's terrible. The remake of Nightmare is a middle finger to Craven and what Craven did for his final film Scream 4. He made a point today that is to say that the original will always be the best. Totally. If you had to make your own Creepshow 3 using segments from the TV show, which segments would you use? We're going to get it. I'll tell you what, we're going to get into the TV show. I'm not going to do every single segment. This is like a 2-hour show already. I'm going to say my favorite ones. We can talk about your guys' favorite ones. That's going to be more of just a general open discussion. I'm not going to go through every episode of it. Like literally, I don't think we'd be here till tomorrow. But I will tell you my favorite ones for sure. I think I'll pass on Creepshow 3 while trying to find the other 2 movies. Yeah, no, I would recommend you fucking playing darts on somebody's asshole before fucking watching Creepshow 3. I would recommend you eat a hot dog off the CGI floor with a pound of dirt on it before watching Creepshow 3. Great question, Trench. Yeah, no, and we're going to get there. So Creepshow 3, a negative 10 out of 10. I'm sorry if I wasn't as animated with that rant. I don't think this movie's even worth it. Like the Hatchet rant may be my all-time best rant. And the Halloween Kills rant, like there's a couple of good rants I've done. But this movie, it's not worth it. You've got fucking Alice in Wonderland references. You've got a guy trying to fuck a woman radio to impress a woman radio. You have fucking a call girl killer. You have these two idiots that rip apart a Russian woman on a CGI floor, and you have a guy that is haunted to and scared to death by a guy who he gave him a hot dog. It's the worst film of all time. There's no defense for it. The CGI, the PowerPoint animation, it's just bad. There's not one positive. There's not 1 ounce of enjoyment you can have. Like, watching this movie, getting enjoyment out of this movie is like trying to take enjoyment out of taking a shit. Like, you just took a shit. Like, it's going to stank. It's going to stank, and you're going to fucking just go on with your day. Just because you have the rights to. Exactly. Like, if you bought the rights, you spent all your money to buy the rights, and you can't afford a floor, you're fucking in trouble. Let's be honest. Negative 10 out of 10, my least favorite movie of all time. I will forever feel that way. Unless they somehow find a way to, do something else, like to one of my heroes. I have not seen any episodes of the series. Would you recommend for buying it cheap? Yes, I would recommend that. And we're going to get into that right now. Of course, after the abomination that was Creepshow 3, they came out on Shudder with a Creepshow series. Now, before we get into this, there's some executive producers on this show. And it's the same people that directed Creepshow 3. They, I believe, still own the rights, but they are not creatively involved with the show, thankfully. They just have their name on it, and they're going to get a paycheck from this. So that sucks. But with that being said, this show is worth a shit. This show is good. I could show off the little slipcovers here. I have the first season on Blu-ray. I really liked this. This first season, I think, is the best by far. And then the second season here, where I don't think you had as many strong efforts. I definitely think the good ones do stand out, and the budget was a lot bigger for this. So I guess I could get through, maybe I'll give you like my top 5 segments from each, or my top 5 segments overall. I guess we could do that. Creepshow 3 ain't a normal shit. It's like an Applebee's shit. It's like it burns. Flockers. Yeah, no, a bunch of flockers. My favorite one, Mateo, and I'll try to keep the spoilers at a limit since I don't know, as you said, you haven't seen it. My favorite one, though, is from the first season, and it's called, I believe, All Hallows Eve, and it's the story of this group of kids, and they, on Halloween night, they're going around door to door, and they're kind of fucking with the parents of the neighborhood, and we don't know why at the beginning. Each one of them, though, to me, what was genius about this, each one of them had a great distinct look to them. Like, one of them was a skeleton, one of them was the devil, one of them was a witch. One of them was a ghost. They all had that like classic like Halloween costumes, like circa Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin. I liked all their get-ups, and I think that the whole twist at the end I thought was very smart. I thought the acting was good. This one had a great heart to it, and it's directed by John Harrison, who of course did the score for the original Creepshow. John Harrison turns around all those years later and directs my favorite episode of the television series. Really cool how it kind of came full circle. And what you can watch by this is, and see by this, which is even, I would say, a slight step up in some ways from Creepshow 2, the style is back here. The uses of color, the uses of the panels, the editing, it's a lot like Creepshow 1. They go back and sort of pay more homage to this film. And I appreciate that. They have a few good ones. The man in the suitcase is a fun one, where this kid, he finds this suitcase and he opens it and there's this like Indian man in there, and he tries to help him out. And every time he gets hurt, the Indian man, he produces gold. And for some reason they decide, let's just torture this guy. They electrocute him, they push him down the flight of steps, and they become millionaires off it. It's hilarious. A very fun, spirited episode. You have another one where this girl, she gets this dollhouse. And I actually thought this was one of the best ones too. She gets this dollhouse, and she notices there's like a head, like a severed head, like it's a toy of a severed head in the dollhouse. And, she sees it. And every time she opens the dollhouse, closes it, the head's somewhere else. And there's a little family in there, and they're getting picked off one by one. And it's just so well done. At one point, she goes to the store and she buys a toy, and the toy is Old Chief Woodenhead. And she puts the Old Chief Woodenhead to take care of this severed head. An excellent callback to the past of what these movies were. To me, showing that you gave a shit, showing that you had heart. And I like, and this is a slight spoiler, the head beats Old Chief Woodenhead. And I think that's a big importance And a lot of people go, oh, you want to see Old Chief Woodenhead lose. Why would you want to see that? I want to see that because the genre has to move forward. In order to, a lot of people, they spend time about, we have to pay homage to the past. And I agree with that. I love paying homage to the past. I love it. I love the films of yesteryear. We talk about them every week. But in order to establish your own identity, you've got to be the future too. And to have Old Chief Woodenhead come in there, pay homage to him. There he is, nostalgia. Haha. He gets killed. Okay, this is the new kid on the block. Hence, we establish ourselves. That's what I think horror needs now. That's exactly what it needs. And I thought it was a tremendous episode of horror television. One of my favorites of the series. There's a Bad Wolf Down is a great one. These Nazi werewolf story, very good stuff. I can get into a couple of your guys's. Let me go up here. I don't want to skip anybody's. Oh geez, let me see. I don't remember where we were. One of my favorites, the Bed and Breakfast with the Girl. Yes, that's season 2. I really like that one. That's the one with Ali Larder and C. Thomas Howell. And they own this like hotel, and it's famous for their great grandmother was a murderer there. And this woman that does all these like sort of YouTube videos, she's famous. She goes to all these haunted places. They invite her to stay. And they're trying to prove to her that it's haunted, and she doesn't buy it. And then they go to some extreme measures to get her to believe it. It's great stuff. Ali Larder's tremendous, and it was great to see her in something that wasn't Final Destination or the House on Haunted Hill remake or Obsessed. Like, to see her again in something horror related was really cool. I loved that one. Here's a question though: do they have CGI floors? Oh my God! You see, now this is gonna be everyone's gonna be like, "Brony, CGI floor," but it's bad. I also, yes, I just mentioned that one. I love that one. My fave. Okay, that's your fave. Okay, love that one too. Monkey's Paw is probably my favorite one. That one, cool enough, was written by John Esposito. If you don't know who John Esposito is, he's a good friend of the show. He actually lives just a couple towns over to me. Nicest guy in the world. He wrote episodes for Teen Titans, Masters of Horror. The guy's great. He wrote one of my favorite Masters of Horror segments called Right to Die. He wrote Stephen King's Graveyard Shift, the screenplay. He's awesome. Monkey Paw was a good episode. Also directed by John Harrison. House of Head and Stephen King's Gray Matter, 2 favorites in the series. Dude, yeah, that's the first episode right there. Great choices. Creepshow, the TV series, is what... Yes, I agree with that. I think it pays homage. It keeps the style. There's a tremendous amount of good episodes. One more I want to mention, because I can't mention them all. From season 2, this was probably my second favorite episode of the entire series. And I haven't seen season 3, so I guess this isn't the complete retrospective, but I will see season 3 because I liked season 2 enough, even though there was a couple stinkers in here. Not as strong as the first season. There is a story with Breckin Meyer and the lead from Dead Silence. I can't think of his damn name. I'm sorry, forgive me. I cannot think of his name, and he does a great job in it too. I really would like to get Ryan Quanten. Thankfully, this back me up. It says his name on the back here. Ryan Quanten and Breckin Meyer play these 2 astronauts. This one reminded me more of like a Twilight Zone or something, but it was great. They play these 2 astronauts, and they're out, and they've discovered like life, and one of them is going to be the first one ever to talk to an extraterrestrial being. And the 2 of them are they're cool with each other, but Ryan Quanten's character has this whole thing where his dad was the first man to land on Mars, which, again, how this takes place in a different world, right? The dad was the first man to ever step foot on Mars. And he has this whole, Napoleon complex because of it. Everybody goes, oh, that was your dad. That was your dad. And to me, I thought the brilliance of the episode was focusing on the horrors of being overshadowed by people who came before you were even alive. To me, that's like, wow, the horrors of that. I mean, thinking about it, like being Frank Sinatra Jr., you just can't live up to being Frank Sinatra. There's nobody that ever could. There are some that surpassed the greats that were their fathers. Look at Ken Griffey Jr. I mean, I think the greatest baseball player of all time. He surpassed Ken Griffey Sr. Ken Griffey Sr. was a hell of a baseball player. But to me, I just thought the true horror of this was Quanten's performance of, being so upset and angry that his father accomplished these things, and his whole life and existence was because of what his father did. It just ate him alive. And I love he at one point he turns a little heel and kills Breckin Meyer because he wants the fame and glory of being the first one to speak to an extraterrestrial being. And it's that ugliness, that ugly side of him that shows that causes him to commit the act of horror that he commits. I thought it was just a brilliant episode, had great psychology, was directed by Joe Lynch, who I really like. Of course, he directed Wrong Turn 2, Dead End. He directed some fun films, some fun, over-the-top, gory exploitation films. I like him, and I think that it's one of the best things he ever did. I really like that episode with those two. It's really good stuff. Let's see. First Creepshow, awesome first season of Creepshow, the TV series, awesome second, not as good as the first. Yeah, no, the second season isn't as good. There's a couple of bangers in here. There's the one where it's like basically like Evil Dead in a TV studio where Ted Raimi plays himself. He brings in the Necronomicon. That one's fun. There's also another fun one in the first season where this guy's trying to lose weight and you like put this like slug leech on you and it sucks all the fat out of you. But then when the solar eclipse comes and all these people like turn into these sludge monsters, fun, very fun. To me, mostly overall, the most fun you'll ever have being scared. It lives up to that. There's a couple of bad ones that I don't really want to get into. But for all of the good ones, I think there's only a handful of bad ones. So I can give this show a very solid pass and recommendation. The episodes I recommend, because somebody was Mateo was asking, All Hallows Eve, The Man in the Suitcase, the last episode of the first season, the one with the slugs, I loved that. The one with the astronauts with Breckin Meyer, Ryan Quanten, I thought was the best of season 2. The one in the studio with the Evil Dead, I love that one with like Bob Ross killing people. I thought that was a lot of fun. I actually really like Lydia Lane's Better Half, which seems to be almost everybody's least favorite. That one's like Tales from the Dark Side. It's all takes place in like this one building. And it's great. It's like these two, I don't know. I don't want to give anything away, but I loved that one. Man in the Suitcase, I adore. I think that's one of the best episodes of the first season for sure. I'm saying there's a parable first movie in the first. I haven't seen that. No, there's no way the third season is as bad as Creepshow 3. What did you think of the Exterminator episode? It was okay. It was very ambitious. I appreciated its like balls. Like it really tried. And it was cool to see Ashley Lawrence in there, even though it was a very bit role. I would have liked to have seen her do something like maybe in another episode be the lead. But I like to see Keith David in there from, of course, all the Carpenter films. It was cool to see him. I just don't think the Exterminator episode was as good as it should have been. It was it had ambition. I just think, I don't know, maybe it needed a little bit more money. Maybe it needed a different director. I don't know. It hit just not a whole, like it hit a single, not a home run for me. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but that I guess my best way. What did I think of The Companion? The Companion, I love the idea. I love the story, but I don't know. The episode itself is, I don't know. The episode itself is very, I don't know. I'll need to say goodnight. Buenas noches, babe. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I ranted on Creepshow 3. She was here for all that. I'm going to see her tomorrow. She would be like, what the fuck? But I don't know. I'm glad she watched. Thank you so much. Buenas noches, babe. What do The Companion, man, I don't know. I just don't think I think the story it sets up isn't as good as I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. The Companion was just a sort of a letdown for me. It just sort of, I liked the beginning with the two kids. It felt very Stand By Me. Them talking to each other. I liked that. But like, I don't know. The Companion, very middle of the road for me. Yeah, I thought the ending was off. Or the Exterminator or the Companion? I don't know which one you mean. But I would agree actually in both cases, to be perfectly honest. And I liked the season finale of season 2. I thought that was a really good one. The one with Justin Long. What is it? Night of the TV Dead or something like that. I forget the name of it, but Justin Long's in it. It's a good one. I don't know. I liked the Creepshow series, and I was very surprised by that. Getting people like Nicotero and Savini to come back to direct one is so cool. Getting Joe Hill to write one. They really, I think, to me, the reason I like this series most of all is it feels like a big tribute and thank you to George Romero and all the contributions he made to the genre, and Stephen King. Stephen King's still here, thankfully, to see it. But I think this is a big tribute to George Romero and what he meant to the horror genre. and the horror society, and me personally too, like as a fan, what George Romero meant, because like he was one of the coolest guys I ever met. And to me, it's so nice to know that there's a show that recognizes how great he was. And to me, it's wonderful. I love Creepshow, the television series. I think this is a solid series, and I recommend people check it out. Silverwater was written by King's son, Joe Hill, who played Billy in the first Creepshow as Joe King. Yes, that's true. And it's a pretty good episode. I guess you could say Creepshow TV series is the true Creepshow 3. You could say that. You could say Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, is the true Creepshow 3. You could say Tales from the Dark Side, the show, was Creepshow, the series of the 80s. You really could. I mean, it really was. It was still produced by Romero. I mean, it was still written, some of them, by Romero and produced by Rubenstein. So, I mean, it was definitely in there. But I mean, it is what it is. I think it's worthy of it. I mean, there's a couple bad ones, like I said, but it's not enough for me to just get on here and go, oh, I hate this show. You know, it's positive enough. I can give it the pass. But that is what it is. But we've been doing this for over 2 hours. I have really enjoyed this episode. This was one of my favorite episodes. I gotta say, this was a lot of fun. George Romero gave me zombies, my favorite horror creatures. I will appreciate him for that. Thank you, George, for zombies and my favorite. That's the thing with Stephen King and George Romero and this whole Creepshow thing. I think the whole idea of it, it's just brilliant. And like, to me, it's like, those are two guys that I can look at and go, that's why I love being a horror nerd. Here's two guys that loved it and made a living out of it. And created so many great things and stories that we can remember long after they're gone, and like, that's why I love Creepshow. And to me, it's so nice all these years later to redeem the shit that is Creepshow 3 and make it into a very likable, passable show. I'm appreciative that they did that. I really am. I'm very happy they did, make up for the mistakes they had made. George Romero made a lot of badass films, and I've even enjoyed Survival of the Dead once, worse and all. Yeah, no, absolutely. But everybody, I guess cheers to Mr. Stephen King, who is thankfully still with us, and cheers to Mr. George Romero, who's sadly no longer with us. But like I said, if you ever feel sad, just play the George Romero song, because it'll always put me in a good mood. Tales from the Crypt is very reminiscent. Yeah, definitely. Ciao, Grande. Always a pleasure listening to you. And dude, Mateo, thank you so much. You were here the whole time, man. Ciao to you, my friend. Always good to chill in the graveyard with y'all. That's going to be all for now, ladies and gents. We will catch you next time. Once again, thank you, everybody, for joining. Charles, Mr. Zetro. We will catch you next time, next week, only on the Graveyard. Too sweet, peace, and we'll catch you all next time. Good night, everybody.